Are we live?
Live.
We're live.
We are live.
Troy City Mortgage, thank you so much. Official sponsor of the Bobby Couto Show. It is my pleasure to be here today. February livecast, episode number 4. It is my great pleasure. Co-host David Sousa is in the house.
What's up?
And State Senate candidate, Mr. Manny Silva. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yes.
Amazing. So great to have you here, sir.
Good
I
to
know
be
we
here.
talked. We had you
Yes,
on
sir.
the Bobby Couto Show. We had our little one-on-one. And,
Yes.
I know immediately after that, you're like, hey, I'd love that opportunity to get on the live. And I want people to know that this is really your idea. You wanted an opportunity to come on the show. You wanted an opportunity to engage, with the audience and,
Sure.
really take some really live questions. And, I think more so now than ever before, we're in that realm of now is the moment, right? Like signatures are coming up, right? Like things are becoming real, right? It went
Right.
from, all right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to register, but now you're like, okay, now we're campaigning, right? I had Seth in the studio and that kind of gave it some more momentum for me, and I got to just say this, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
And
inviting me.
to me, it's like next level, right?
Yep.
We had all the local politicians on the show, David and I, it was actually David's idea. And, that kind of really, I think, exposed the show to be like, hey, you know what? It's really not a political show, but an opportunity for people who are running for office to really show the constituents who they really are, right? Like where they come from and what's really important to them.
It's like an interview.
Absolutely. And so,
the best way to look at it.
again, thank you for being here. David, thank you for being here. How you doing,
pleasure.
bro? You good?
Oh, I'm doing great.
You've been busy.
I've been busy, very
Right?
busy.
The pinnacle painting thing's
Business
going on.
has been good. Can't
Yeah.
complain.
Yeah.
I've been very, very busy.
Yeah. Jody too. Jody's
Jody,
been really
Jody's
busy.
been good.
Yeah.
Jody's been good. A lot of business going on over there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sitting back, getting paid. You know how we doing it.
Well, you know what, dude? I keep hearing everybody talking about his work, so it's great that we have this in the city.
Yeah.
But more importantly, dude, Maura Healey had her discussions and really discussed the budget that's coming up. So it's a $60.9 billion budget. And I thought, gee, what a great opportunity, right? We got Manny coming in. We could really dive into this a little bit and talk about some of the product of this bill and just realize that, I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know everything, right?
Yeah.
Like if you would ask me what's the difference between last year's budget and this year's budget, I'm not going to pretend and say that I know that. What I know is
I think most people can say the same.
The more recent research. And
Correct.
So I see $60.9 billion and I ask myself, okay, well, that can make sense, but where is that money going? Because I think the more social we become, the more programs, I had somebody on my show yesterday that took me by surprise and, really understanding that the democratic system, the liberal democratic system, and this is, I'm not throwing any hate, has created a product, right? Sure. You've created a product where people become dependent upon a system. And I think what happens is, you go back into, the Clinton days, right? And if we go back to the Clinton days, those children are now adults, right? So they were brought up into this system.
That was my era.
Right. So they really don't know the difference. Right. So now, you got a product that you have a bunch of people that are really depending on a system that is hemorrhaging in every which way. And so my question, Manny, leading into this is like, how do we change? I mean, because none of this, what we're going to talk about today, none of this matters if we continue to do what we're doing right now. What we need to do, I believe, is change mindset. How do we convince people, the citizens of Massachusetts, that they need to, strap their boots. They need to get up. They need to contribute to, a system that, quite frankly, you have 10% of society carrying the weight of 90% of the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here we are, right? And I mean, microphone to you, sir.
It shouldn't take much to convince the people. How far will it go before they can say enough is enough?
Right.
And I think we're close to that breaking point. I mean, I don't know the details too much of the budget.
Sure.
I'm not surprised once I get into the deep parts of it.
Yep.
It's the same old thing. What is it, about a 7% increase? I'm not sure.
I think that's what I heard as
something
well.
around
Yeah.
there.
And you're
yeah,
limited
yeah.
to what you know right now. I mean,
Yeah.
you only know
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
know.
That's
or,
right.
or what we have access
Correct.
to. So,
Right.
But yeah,
That's fair to point
7%
out.
every year. How are you going to do that?
Right.
And
So we've
survive?
got free community college, universal school health meals. I think that's
to be honest,
to me,
with you,
that's a
that should
no-brainer.
have been a thing
Yes.
years ago.
So that'll be $180 million. And that means that every child has breakfast and lunch. I am all about that. Like you'll never hear me argue about
Doesn't
that.
Fall River currently do that, though?
That's K through 12.
Isn't that part of the budget in Fall River? I'm not sure if Coogan actually put that through, but the
Yeah.
idea was, I think, and I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I did hear that in Fall River,
Yeah, that's a great question
That was
for-
part.
yeah.
That was part of
Maybe
the new
Collins,
budget.
yeah.
The new budget. That's why there was a big increase as well. Part of the big increase was making sure that every kid is fed in school.
Do me a favor while you got a second. Could you text Colin right now and ask him that question?
Colin, yeah.
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 Get on that. So K through 12 funding fully funds the 5th year of Students Opportunity Act. That's $7.36 billion on Chapter 70 aid. So that's a 7%. You were absolutely correct, sir. 7% increase. Early education, so allocates $475 million for the Commonwealth Cares for Children C3 program to stabilize childcare providers and lower costs for families. And then the literacy launch, which includes $15 million for evidence-based reading instructions for young students. So there's an MBTA stability in there for $470 million. Like, I mean,
That's on my list of
Whew.
negatives.
jeez.
The MBTA Act
Like, how
and
much
everything.
more can we put into that?
But then, a lot of it sounds good, but where are the details?
Right, that's
Where are the details of
Yes.
this wonderfully sounding thing?
Yes,
Even the Food Act.
social.
Food for the kids.
There's a lot of social.
What's in there?
Yes,
Yeah.
like this is a lot of social housing and affordability, rental broker fees. That's strange. Rental vouchers allocates $253 million for Massachusetts Rental Vouchers Program, MRVP, to support over 10,000 low-income households. Oh, so that would be like vouchers, rental vouchers,
Yeah, I think there's some problems with that too. I was reading
Yeah.
up on that.
and
that
the brokers'
particular part.
fees.
Yeah.
Well, you know, because
It's
Boston.
going to hurt some of the realtors.
Yes.
Everything pretty much brings some pain to somebody who's trying to run a business.
Shelter Service provides $276 billion for energy assistance and family shelter systems to manage ongoing housing stability efforts. It's all like it's like all word salads. You know
Yes.
what
Well,
I mean?
it's
Like-
because I feel like the public, the general public, when they read these things, one, it's not interesting to even read. Most of them don't understand it. You can be very smart. You can run a business and still not understand what any of this means. Like you said, it's just words. There's no breakdown. There's no
The
understanding.
devil's in the details.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what, unfortunately, what the state keeps from the general public in a sense. Why don't we know the details? If we're going to talk about, let's say, a topic, the governor comes out and says, hey, I'm proposing this. We want to do this. Okay, where are the details? Give us a website. Give us somewhere that the common folk, the common guy and woman can go on a website, look these things up, and they probably do exist. I don't even know. But the thing is that we don't know if they exist because it's not talked about. It's only mentioned what they want to propose, what they want to do, and then it's okay. Figure it out now. Figure it out how to get that
They
information.
give you good sounding details.
Correct.
Well, semi details.
Correct.
But they will not give you the exact details.
Of what goes
and
into
I'm
it.
sorry to pivot to a little bit to
Sure, no.
it comes down to the audit that's involved with the budget. Because once we get the audit done, those details are going to be awfully bad. They don't want you to know exactly what they plan, but also who gets the money.
But isn't that
Who gets the contract?
The concern. What a concern. They don't want you to know.
yeah, but
Why?
okay.
Why?
That's a good question. And, I know we talked about it, Manny, is accountability. So even if we find out, what are we going to do about it? Like and I don't want to sound
Vote.
like we
Vote
don't-
di- vote differently.
Well, but that's the question.
and that's
though.
why they keep it away from us.
Okay, but I think we perpetuate some of this, right?
Sure,
Because we've
sure.
been through this before.
Sure.
Roderick's has been there for over 20 years.
30 years.
30 years. So,
It's been that long.
30
So-
years this month, yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So, I
15
mean,
as a rep, 15, 16 as
I hear his chair is a museum piece at this point. So,
It should. It should.
Yeah,
It should
right?
go. It should go
and
into.
so,
yeah.
like, in all cases, dude, in all cases, you're responsible. Like, you're responsible. The fiscal situation that we are in right now, you are responsible. And somehow they continue to spin this narrative. And I will tell you this, and I'm almost embarrassed to admit it now. I had no idea who he was. I didn't know who he was.
I knew who he was.
I think that's half the magic.
But I will
you
say-
did.
I-
You did because we talked about
But
it.
I will say this. I would say I didn't know he was there for 30 years. That's news to me.
Yeah.
I would say I'm aware of him from the Flanagan days.
Okay.
From the Flanagan days till now
Yeah.
is when I was aware because Flanagan was an active mayor and he was in the news a lot. And whenever they would propose something on the waterfront or put up something new, the senator was always there. They always are there.
Yeah,
right? So and that's when you start seeing that. I saw a lot with him with Jazel Correa.
Yeah.
He was actually in a lot of photo ops
Yeah.
with Jazel Correa when Jazel Correa was mayor. I think that's when you started to see it because Jazel being a young mayor, he was in the spotlight a lot. And if he's there and they're also there, they always took the opportunity to have a photo together. That makes sense. That's what they
Yes.
do. It's part of the process.
Right.
And that's when I started to see more of Senator Roderick's more than ever. But for 30 years,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you that he was there
Right.
for 30
And
years.
I think it's
wasn't
more,
aware of it.
And I only say this now because I think it's because I'm in this that
Sure.
I realize it.
Now you're
And
aware
so
of it.
again, I'm almost embarrassed because
You shouldn't be.
as a 50-year-old man, I
be.
should know. Well, I keep saying you should know the players.
Yeah.
You know, personal.
But no one does.
Personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion.
Correct.
If you don't know the players around you, you can't compete. Like you need to know. Like I need to know Manny. I need to know. And I didn't. And you know, so now looking at this and going, wow, let me look back at this. And you see the patterns. You
Sure.
see these people working together. And, you know, quite frankly, it's like a strategic chess game. None of it's obvious, right? It's a little bit over here. It's a little bit over there.
It's a lot
not-
of appearance stuff. You go on his Facebook page.
Yeah.
He's got every few weeks a big title, delivering for the district, and he puts a little project there, delivering for the district. A few weeks later, little project for a school system. I don't know, a new playground, whatever. Delivering for the district is his big title every time he puts something up there. And I'm not belittling the fact that he's helped some communities or schools and things like that.
Yeah.
But in the overall picture, that's just a little I don't want to call it crumbs because
Yeah.
it's when people get benefited at a school for a little playground,
Yeah.
that's great for the kids.
Right, right.
But
right.
look what he's not done or done with the budget that Healy has been using for 3 years. He goes along with it. He's known as the architect.
Really?
Overall, what
Yeah,
has he
I've heard that.
done
Yeah.
for the people, not only in our district,
Right.
but, you know, when I become a senator,
Yeah.
whatever I do and vote on is going to affect the whole state.
Right.
Sure.
What has he done to benefit the state? When has he ever
That's fair.
protested
That's
her budget?
fair.
Right.
You know
I
what
mean,
I'm
we,
saying?
we think of you
Yes.
in the position as just for Fall River and
Yeah.
New Bedford or Westport.
That's right.
But it's just not us.
It's not us.
It's across the board, the
Every-
whole state. Which
Absolutely.
I think that's a wonderful thing. It shouldn't just be us. Yeah, you are representative, but it does affect everyone. If you take a little bit here and give here, that affects them as well.
Sure.
So I understand that your decision, every decision you make will.
It's that piece. It's that
it's
important piece.
Yeah,
Right,
100%.
right, right.
You know what I mean? I feel like some cities get a little bit more than others. We can clearly see it.
And why do they?
And
That's
why?
another question.
Well, that's where they live. It could be their families are there, and there's donors that come from those areas that they want. You know what I mean? So there's reasons to. I wouldn't say they're great reasons, right? I mean, but then again, we spoke about this earlier. People base every decision they make is based off emotions and
feelings,
and
yeah.
feelings,
Yeah, right,
and I think that's also a connect.
Yeah.
If you're not grounded to the place where you live, right? Who cares about the other places?
Sure.
And I think when I don't know where he was from Westport, right?
Westport
He's
now,
Westport.
yeah.
So I mean, I wonder if his voting record shows that he's even done how much he's done for Westport versus all the other cities that he represents.
So, I mean, is it fair to say those feeling the consequences of these decisions are the middle class, hardworking
Absolutely.
constituents?
Yeah.
So, with that said, Manny, I know you've heard me say it before. What I call the bottom feeders, right? And it's not a derogatory term. It just means people that are dependent upon whoever is in office, right? Is it possible that they've created such a dependency that, like, it's 30 years of this narrative and 30 years of getting checks in every month and EBT cards and SNAP benefits? Like, why would you mess with that? Why would I vote otherwise? Why would I vote for Manny when I have? See, this
That's
is
the
my
problem.
And so I witnessed this firsthand in the city of Fall River for the mayoral race. I watched this happen. I realized very quickly that it wasn't about all the citizens showing up. It was about the citizens that were dependent upon something that needed to show up. Like the 14,000 that showed up had to show up, right? Because I was either going to lose my job, right? Or I was going to lose my government contract. Right, so I mean, and I'm just trying to be fair with this,
Sure.
and I think here in Massachusetts, being a sanctuary state, we've got a lot of that dependency, and it's almost to the point where I say to myself, how do you get to these people to say, look, you got to get out of this? Like, and you know what? And just frank and honest, it doesn't mean that if Manny Silva is voted in that these benefits go away and they change, but realizing that it's an opportunity for us to find a new way so that everybody gets a piece, so that it could work well for everyone. I am a strong believer there should be no single empty building in the city. Like, everything should be rented, occupied. There should be businesses running there. An empty building is one that is degrading and just will cease to exist.
Completely
The Bank
agree.
Street Armory is a shame. Like
It's a great
That's a
building.
historical.
I wish I could buy that building.
Right,
I
man?
could
Me
buy it
too.
today saying
Me
that.
And you
too.
know, it's so funny. You're not the first person
Go
to say
by
that.
it
Yes.
saying, what is this? sitting
What
around
are we doing
nothing?
here?
Right.
And we talked about it yet. Well, I didn't. We didn't. You guys talked about it.
Yeah.
Aaron said it
Yeah.
because he was talking about his building, and he said, you know, that the Bank Street Armory, I think that's what I heard, has great bones.
Yeah,
It's a
right,
great
right.
building. And I remember being there as a kid, playing basketball in there
Yeah.
all the time. We used to have some of the Celtics guys come in for a field trip, and that's where they would meet us. And that's
We used to go there for wrestling.
we used to
We
go there
used to have
for
the
wrestling.
event.
Okay.
So
It's
real
a
quick,
great facility.
what did they just build in Swansea?
The Silver Castle.
So
Yeah.
you couldn't work something out, man.
I mean,
you already had. You already
it's
had
90,000 square feet though in the other building,
Yeah,
right?
but
And, they,
dude,
and they're limited in space there.
what's-
What?
true.
There's other things you can do with that
Oh,
building.
But my point is, like, you do something along those lines.
So who owns
know
that
what I
building?
mean?
Is it the city that owns the building?
I believe the city.
Yeah, the city
owns it.
still
So
owns it.
why doesn't
Yeah.
see? This is the
Sitting
miss.
there doing nothing,
This is the
falling
miss.
apart.
But
with the
that's
city.
an example. That's an example of what I'm
Correct.
talking about.
We don't market as a city. We don't market the city,
Well,
right?
is there a reason for that?
Of course. But if you started with the Bank Street Armory,
Yeah.
all right, and allocated some money to get that place to look decent and good enough,
Yeah.
right? To, let's say, have some attractions, have some people come in, do some wrestling events there, right? We used to have the
PAL.
the PAL, right? The PAL.
Yeah.
Used to have the boxing, the wrestling there.
yeah.
Why not you? It's the space is utilized for
but
that
I,
purpose.
but I think it's beyond. I think it's beyond inhabitable at this point. The roof is collapsed. Like
It's that far.
It's that far. Yeah, it's that far. That's why.
that is such a
There
shame.
was somebody that was going to buy it, and then they backed out of it. There was just way too much money involved.
just
and
falling
It's
apart?
just falling apart.
Badly?
Yeah. They'll
That's too bad.
end
That's
up
a
knocking
shame.
that down.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing too is
And what do you put? What do you do? What do you do with that building?
Dude,
The building right across from it was just as bad, and they rehabbed it. The whole thing.
The fire department. Our firefighters are living in
Yeah.
mold and asbestos
Yep.
and rats.
Yep.
It's
They
the
don't
mo-
want you to see that.
It is the most
No, no.
ridiculous conversation that anyone could possibly have.
Correct.
That the people that we depend on to save our lives, right? These are people that are literally risking their lives to save ours, to sacrifice theirs for others, and we have them sleeping in a place that they don't even have showers.
Correct.
Maura Healy and Michael Rodrigues, they've together, because he's responsible. Honestly,
Yep.
he's responsible.
Yep.
Almost $4 billion now for illegal aliens.
Yes.
What can you do with $4 billion?
Oh man, we could
For-
build the best, like, the safety building where police and fire could exist together. And one, like, there's so much we could do. And they're talking, $2 million to do some remediation. $2 million, and then what? And then what? Like the buildings, it's dilapidated. They
doesn't
can't open the
matter.
windows. They said that they've replaced the glass with plexiglass, so the windows are so heavy that if it falls, it takes your fingers off. and this is, and guys, this information that I am sharing with you right now
Yep.
was in the city council meeting.
Yes.
So I beg you all to please participate and at least watch. You don't have to show up. It streams live. Just listen, like be a part of what's actually happening in your city.
Absolutely.
Like this is absolutely deplorable. Our police department, they're so unmotivated. Why would they be motivated? Everything they do, they get ridiculed. They're being shot at. Like they're just leaving. They're left out there to die.
Correct.
Nobody gives a shit.
Nobody cares.
I remember. And I don't want to, again, I digress, but I remember being a child and I had a lot of respect for police. And I remember the police in my neighborhood, they were great guys.
Yeah.
They would say hi to us. We were good kids. Like, we had a
Some of
relationship.
them would actually play basketball.
Dude,
with
there
us.
was a relationship.
There was a relationship.
I used to hang out at the cemetery because it was Oak Grove
Oh, you
Cemetery.
were right there.
Right, we were right there. We could ride our bikes and
You
skateboards.
guys are forever in Fall River, right?
Forever, my whole
whole
life.
life.
My whole
So
life.
you know.
Yes.
whole life.
I remember
The
what it
changes
was.
that
I've seen
Yeah.
all parts of Fall River.
Yeah.
I've seen it change in the last, as far as I can remember, since I was 5. So I'm 41. What, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
5 years old is when I started remembering things.
Right,
that
right.
long. 35, 36
I
years.
love freshwater fishing. And when I was a kid, I had my bicycle. I would literally put my fishing pole
Yeah,
on my bike.
yeah.
I would ride this whole
And it was safe.
whole city, and
It
I
was
fished
safe
every
back
single.
then.
I'd go home full of ticks, but I would fish every single pond in this city. I really did, and never worried about it. My mom never worried about me, and it was a great place to grow up. And now you look.
really was.
Look,
It really
you
was.
guys drive in the city, right?
Yeah.
All right, go down Columbia Street. Come along for this ride with me. You come down Columbia Street, right, all the way right, Columbia Street, and then you get to what is that, Broadway? So
Yes.
yes. So you got to take a right or a left.
Correct.
You take a right. As you take a right, you got the car dealership right there, and
Yeah.
then you got that overpass
Yep.
that goes to Ferry Street.
Yep.
Yep.
On the left, right over there, it's probably been about a year, and I'm embarrassed to say it because maybe I should go over there and clean it up. There are trash bags stuffed into the the steal of the, and it's been there for over a year.
Well, Christopher from Christopher's pointed that out.
Right?
He's always down there.
Dude, you drive by every day, it's just there.
it's just
And it gets to a
trash.
point where you don't even see it anymore. And again, broken window theory, right? The idea that if we kept the city...
Well,
Dude,
it's like Detroit. Detroit's no different.
I
you
don't remember
you go
seeing
down
that.
there and it's like...
Yes.
It legit looks like a third world country.
Yes.
And the worry is that one day, if that's not addressed, if we continue to have these open buildings, these empty buildings, the old police station, Jean St. Pierre just posted photos on it.
Yeah.
And, I knew it was bad in there.
It's bad.
It looks like a horror movie.
You know what's worse?
I'm waiting for like a ghost or something
Yeah.
to pop up. It's that bad.
You
in
know what's
there.
worse than
What
the
are we
building?
doing with that building?
What's worse in the building is the protective fence on the outside of the building that's all collapsed and fallen over.
Like as if that's gonna stop my neighbor from getting hit with a
literally to
brick.
impale somebody. You know what I mean? Like the idea that that's... But nobody fixes it. It just sits there.
There's no
that way.
effort.
There's no effort.
There's no effort.
There
And
is
City
no effort.
Hall
Yeah.
is right there.
Yeah.
You know what
I
I mean?
think the
And that would be your
yeah.
office, right? Your office
Yeah.
would also be right at City Hall, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I sit there and I'm like, why would I, as a state senator, want to sit at City Hall? And that is my view. The reason why is because the view is of the water, right, and not of the other part of the city, right? You look towards one, and,
Yeah,
you
one
put
direction.
your back to the bad. And I feel like that's what they do. It's as long as we don't address it, it's there. People can make us think about it, but we can, as voters, that's all we could do is vote them out to put people in that can change. But like, we don't see it. We
Right.
don't
The only
see
way
it.
you're going to do that is like triple, quadruple the number of people that go to city council meetings.
Yeah.
It's like a microcosm of the state problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody cares about here what's happening in the state. But if double the people voted or double the people raised their voices, I don't know how many people. I've seen some of the city council meetings. You could have a lot more people. there.
Absolutely.
A whole lot more
Absolutely.
people.
If the idea that at
Until
least
they
not,
get the message.
At least not one person showing up going, hey, for example, my mom, Bobby, when you go to the city council meeting, you tell them they don't pick up my trash. Last week they left the recyclables. I had to put out again, and now the trash is over there again. That's a terrible accent of my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Mad. She's mad at me, and she wants so for my mom who's 80 years old and she loves to wheel her little trash out there, and they don't pick up her trash. That's important to her. That means something to her. And you can mention this all you want, but who are you reaching to? These little things that matter so much.
Sadly, there's people that don't care much about it. They
But
get
why
their checks
don't?
every.
But why don't they care? Well,
I had-
you just said it.
Years ago, I had a
They
friend.
get their checks.
I will not mention that friend, but many years ago, she told me flat out, I'm going to stay at welfare as long as I can get it. I'm going to go for this and that, and I don't care. I don't care about getting a job.
Well,
and she was
personal ambition
talented.
right out the door. Huh?
And I'm sure a lot of people don't express that, but
Right.
they have that same attitude.
Exactly.
I'll
well,
take
yes.
that paycheck any.
Yes.
keep
I think
taking-
we all know a few people that are
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Family, friends,
That's a problem.
acquaintances of some
Big
sort.
problem.
I think I know a couple of people that are successful.
Yeah.
And if you ask them the question, they'll all tell you the same thing. Why didn't you do this sooner? Right? And all of them will say, because I didn't have insurance. Because no one wants to leave their job to go do an entrepreneurship when they don't have medical insurance. So what do? I'm not working. I do everything cash. I need Mass Health. That's how it goes. And now this person is getting Mass Health and says, well, why would I work? What's the point? Where's the carrot? The carrot is gone. The donkey's not going to move if there's no carrot, right? And this is what's happening more and more and more. People are figuring out the system. And my argument is always the same. This what's happening in Minnesota. These people didn't figure this out on their own, okay? These people, these people didn't wake up and go, hey, this is how we're going to defraud the United States government. Because I'll tell you what, I had some college, and never once did I ever surmise or come up with a plan
These are brilliant plans,
that
by
I
the
could
way. These
open
are
a daycare
brilliant
center.
criminal-
Dude, They
that's,
literally
that's
control-
like mafia. That's like organized
Bro,
crime in a
they
sense.
control the vote. They control
everything.
everything there. And so my fear in that is we've pulled, right? So behind the curtain, right? We see Oz. We see what's happened there.
Yeah.
Where else? Where else is that happening? That we don't know. Is it happening here in Massachusetts? Because we had a couple of Haitians making, what, $8 million?
12. I think it was 12.
Right? They had a little storefront and they were scamming.
Through Snap.
Who's again, who taught them how to do that?
We won't know until we get the audit. We won't know until they open the book.
That's exactly where I was getting to right there. That's exactly where I was getting to.
Until you see what's going on.
Yes.
And it's frankly not fair to folks like me and anybody else running against these elites because they have an advantage.
100%.
If I knew what was behind that budget and who's getting the money, who's getting the contracts, I can have a reasonable, even a better, stronger argument to tell Mr. Rodgers, you've got to go. Because this is what you did. This is what you signed off on.
Yes, because it's a David Goliath situation.
Correct.
Right? I mean, we've got 35 Democrats that there has to be some convincing.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, if you have the constituents on your side, if you can expose the corruption, then it's obvious. There's no argument.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, this is what these people have been doing with your money. This is where your money has been going. Then what's the argument, right? Like the Fox News, the CNNs, they have to report on it because it's undeniable, right? So how do we get there? That's the part, because they control the news. They control the fact that this was in 2024. Right, the audit, we voted for this, 76%, 71% voted for the audit in 2024, and here we are 2 years later, and she's on her next budget. Like, she's like, hey, this is business as usual. We're just don't look back there. Don't go back there.
Well, the argument that's a separation of powers, whereas practically every state in the union has some type of detailed budget auditing system. To some extent or another, decent, but they're saying it's unconstitutional. It's a separation of powers. It's just their best excuse to keep us in.
So how do we prove that what they're saying is complete bullshit? Like, how
it may be something that has to go up to the Supreme Court, I guess, possibly. Because
and so who are those people? Who proposes that? Would it be the senators? Would it be, like, at some point something needs to be brought to the judge or to the Supreme Court saying, "Hey, wait a minute." And I'm assuming it's the audit. It's the person doing the audit saying, "Hey."
Well, it would be a committee. You guys would form a committee. There'd be a committee, and they would investigate. And typically, those committees.
The state auditor is doing her best, and she's a Democrat.
And she's amazing. She's doing a great. She's doing a great job. Yeah.
But the state attorney, U.S. Massachusetts state attorney, fighting her. I don't know if she's going to approve the lawyers that I guess one of the candidates is trying to fund her lawsuit. But the state attorney has to give permission to allow these lawyers to be paid.
There it is.
So how is that legal though? Like,
because they say so.
It's legislation, dude.
Okay. So this is where I think the reason why people don't vote.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
They get disgusted.
They get disgusted. They get discouraged. They look at this and be like, "What's the purpose? Why should I vote? If I vote, nothing changes.
My vote doesn't matter.
But it does matter. But they've made you to think that your vote doesn't matter, and they just rely on the same people who vote year in and year out. I mean, the numbers are so bad.
They're making thousands of people think that same thought.
Correct. Yes.
Therefore, those thousands that could have made a difference are all thinking, it's just me.
Right.
I'm never going to.
It's the recycling theory. You ever hear the recycling theory? But people are like, I don't recycle. Why? Because I'm just one person. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if we all thought that way, then nothing makes it into the recycle bin.
Correct.
And we don't recycle anything, right? Like, I'm just one person. Yeah. But the truth is, it does matter.
It does matter.
It really matters.
So, and I think this goes to our schools, how we educate our children. If these things are not put in the forefront, right? I remember there was a time in school where they talked about voting and important issues and how that affects when you do vote and how you vote.
Even the student body.
How it affects different things.
Yes.
In my school, we didn't have like a student body, unfortunately. We didn't have like the president of the whatever.
Why not?
Right?
Why not?
You know, where I work at Case High School, I must give them kudos.
They do.
I've been in at least three of the history teachers. They're fantastic.
Okay.
They actually go over these issues, and they're
very
good at it.
I love to hear this.
Yeah.
I love to hear this.
They even talk about liberals and Democrats and Republicans, but a very fair, balanced way. And they challenge the kids. Get into this. Understand what you're fighting against.
I love that.
They're very good at it without even pushing an ideology. So,
that's critical. That's absolutely critical. If you want these kids to be balanced, I think, I think the greatest gift of politics is the choice.
Yes.
Right? is the idea that I can have my opinion and I can have my beliefs and I can lean towards someone who believes the same way I do. Like democracy. This is back to the days of Greece. This is all we wanted, to live in a culture society that works for everybody.
Correct.
But it's been weaponized.
If you're just watching the news,
Yes.
sucking it up,
Yes.
you're making decisions on that.
Yes, there it is,
You're
right there,
opening up
Manny.
for failure.
Manny, that's the
Absolute
quote of the
failure.
show right there. You were 1,000%
Yeah, it's
correct.
ridiculous.
I have stopped watching the news. I literally
People
don't watch the
cannot
news
keep
anymore.
doing
Entirely.
Yes.
Entirely.
Yes.
I stopped watching the news.
Yeah.
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 You've got
I actually had a
to
debate.
Do your homework.
Yes.
I had
Yeah.
a conversation, and I won't mention this person's name, but it was a comment that this person made on the forward page, and it drove me insane. And I get to a point. I told myself I'm not going to get involved this year. This year, I'm going to focus on my business, grow that business. But sometimes you see stupidity, and you got to call it out. And this person was so far left, and the topic was an article, a segment that Fox News was talking about, which was talking about Massachusetts and the SNAP fraud. And what they were saying were true.
Yeah.
Now, I don't always agree with Fox News, right? Like any other news channel, they're biased. They're going to have their
opposing idea.
the opposing idea.
Right.
But I do believe that there is a little bit of truth in each news channel has a little bit of truth somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you know the truth, you'll see it right in front of you. Now, if you don't know and you don't understand how things work, and you just gobble all that stuff up, you're ill-informed. The topic, what they were covering, was true about what was going on with Massachusetts and the fraud, $12 million in SNAP through those storefronts.
Yeah, the Haitians. Yeah.
The Haitians. And this person decided to come back, say that, well, it's funny how people are quoting or sharing Fox News information when they were hit with a lawsuit for misinformation and fake news, apparently like that.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, fine. I understand that. But aside from that, what they're talking about in this category right here is actually
true.
truth.
It's accurate,
And
yeah.
it's accurate. And if you know what's really going on, you would see that. But you're not. You're just attacking. And so we went this back and forth, and it got to the point where this person clearly wasn't getting it. And I think that's just, unfortunately, that's what we deal with. We're dealing with a group of people in our city, in our state as well, that believe wholeheartedly one side and don't and they question the other side 100% and believe 100% of this side. There's no like, oh, wait a minute.
but how
No
about the
matter
third?
what.
No matter what,
how about
regardless,
the third party in all this? And that is the person that is being compensated to protest. Because that's an element.
we could say that's on a nationwide level, which it is, but that is also local.
Right. From the viewer's point of view, when I'm watching TV, I don't know that person is being paid. They're holding a sign, get ice out of here, whatever it is. But that's a paid protester.
Correct.
So, but they're carrying a narrative, right? And as a consumer, wow, look, there's 10,000 people there, not realizing that there's 40 buses that
pulled them up,
that brought them all in here, and
paid for by God knows who.
and so that narrative, I don't think people really are receptive to that because they don't see that it exists. The George Soros, right? That funded element that I think is really the driver of the opposing force with this ICE situation, right? Because if you go back to the Clinton days, Obama days, even the Bush days, they deported more people combined than the Trump administration has.
Correct.
So with that said, why wasn't it not an issue then, but now it's an issue now, right?
Yeah.
So, and again, you see the narrative, you see what they're pushing. And, again, when you realize the corruption, right, and then you realize, hey, wait a minute, could this possibly be like a Tim Wallace thing? Could this be an Omar thing?
Sure.
Then they're like, oh, the Epstein files, look.
Is that what you call cognitive dissonance? I don't know. Yeah, I was on a alumni page the other day, and this is so funny. I'm sorry, I got to tell it.
Yeah, of course.
No, please do.
Yes.
Somebody had posted the day before a clip of the last part of the TPSA with Kid Rock.
Okay. Yeah.
They posted a 2-minute clip of his last thing about, come to Jesus and all that.
Yep.
And somebody protested the next day and says, we got to keep this page about old stories about the college and nothing about politics. And I kind of questioned, I said, wait a minute.
Why?
Just 2 minutes of talking about Jesus.
Yeah, that's not politics.
It was like,
Yeah.
but then I got scolded by this extremely leftist guy, and he started talking politics. I said, "This is very ironic. You're talking politics and pointing up all sorts of stuff, but you were just one scolding people for talking politics."
Politics. Yeah.
But then he posted a picture of the meme about that somebody posted on behalf of Trump the other day.
Yeah.
With the monkey faces and all that.
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah.
sure. Yeah, well,
And I
there was
simply
more
asked-
to that video.
Yeah,
but-
and I said, look, did you ever complain when George Bush and all those other guys were shown with monkey faces and apes in pictures and all that?
yeah, blackface.
And he had the cognitive dissonance all over again. Just totally ignored it and like, he kept bringing up, like, look over there, like you said.
Right.
But what?
Right.
Yeah, but why do we do that? Why is it so hard for us to see that both sides are playing the same game? Why can't you just acknowledge that? Okay,
Yeah.
I may be more of a liberal or I may be more of a conservative, but I'm smart enough to know that my party does certain things a certain way
Yeah.
that I don't agree, and the same thing goes to the left. Why can't we come to terms with that? Why are you so hell bent on just looking at accepting this group of people and not this group of people when they're both doing the same exact things?
I would have respected that guy's comment a lot if he had come back and said,
Sure.
that's bad too.
That's bad
Just tell
too.
me that. Just tell me that's bad too.
Yeah, and that was back to
That's
that
wrong.
conversation. She refused to say that CNN, MSNBC, AB, they were just as bad as Fox News, and that was my argument.
Sure.
My argument was they're all on the same page.
Yes.
I call it the same tree, different branches, right?
Right.
And I think, unfortunately, I'm a conservative the way I vote, but I grew up in the state, meaning I've been around, Democrats my whole life. I have family that are Democrats. I understand it. I get it.
I grew up a
I was
Democrat.
once.
I grew up a Democrat.
I was once a Democrat.
Yeah.
Now I'm an unaffiliated.
Yeah.
And I think being independent is a great thing for me personally. If you want to be Republican, Democrat, I have Democrat friends. I have debates with them, and I can appreciate somebody who leans a little bit more left or leans a little bit more right. Call out the ignorance within their own party.
Yeah.
So that I have so much respect for that person. That
Yes.
tells me also you're intelligent enough to do the research yourself.
That's right.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we
Call
got
a spade a spade.
We got a comment here by Joe Casa. If you guys want to answer this,
Sure, go for it.
quick.
No, there it is. Yeah, Joe Costa right there.
What's up, JoJo?
Oh.
Yeah,
so
we
I'm
gotta
gonna
read
Yeah,
it?
you got to read it. You can't just.
Oh man, dude, I don't like reading.
Well, if you don't have your glasses, then Dave, you could read it. I don't have my glasses. If I would,
Let's see.
I don't have my readers.
It's small. All right, it says here. Can you ask him if he has any ideas how to get more voters to take time out of
Their day to show up to vote, because it seems like less and less people go out to vote. My idea is to do what we do when we go to jury duty. So if it works for voting day, and your employer gives you the time to vote, when you're done voting, you receive a letter providing that you voted, and to get time paid off from your work. Because let's face it, nobody wants to work until 5 on voting day and then go stand in line.
I'd love to see a national
day off.
holiday.
Yeah.
It should be
I don't
voting
know if it'll
day.
ever happen.
Well,
It
let me ask
should.
you. Listen, if
Yes.
we're
First
telling
of all.
kids,
All right.
if
All
we're
right,
shutting
play.
down
Let's
we're
play.
shutting down the schools.
Let's play. I got a game. What holiday would we trade? Which holiday would we trade?
Oh, my.
How about President's Day?
Easy.
President's Day.
Well, this is a federal level. I'm thinking.
Because you got to give one up. So why don't we could observe President's Day but not get it off?
Let's observe President's Day and vote that day.
I completely
make
agree.
make that President's
There
Day
you go.
voting
President's
day.
Day is the voting day.
And to be honest with you, I think if you were to go back to the forefathers, I think they would absolutely agree with this.
They would
I
love
think
it. Yeah.
they would love it.
Yep.
Right?
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to go work on that day.
Great
That
question,
is- that
Joe.
is
Thank you,
such
Joe.
great. That is such a great question because
Yeah.
you're right. People go to work.
Yes.
Listen, people go to work.
Yes.
And sometimes
A bad day at work will make you
bad
not,
day-
yeah, you're driving home.
a
You're not-
lo-
yes.
it doesn't have to be a bad day.
Yeah.
It could be weather.
Yeah.
Right. We
Yes.
talked about this
Right.
during the Coogan administration
Yeah.
when he was running this past. That weather plays a factor. Construction.
All right, so step
All
further.
of these things. If there is a roadblock
Yeah.
stopping you, and all it takes is the one little bit of aggravation,
Okay.
you're like
You're done. I'm
screw
outta
this.
here.
I'm
let
going
me
home.
get you- So stipulation. So
I gotta buy groceries.
Yeah.
I'm
To-
out of here.
To Joe's point on the jury duty thing, would it be required that when you go and vote, you get a receipt, and that receipt you bring to your employer, and that entitles you for the paid day? off?
Yes.
So if you don't have the receipt, you're not entitled to the
You're not
to the
entitled.
holiday
That is
pay.
a wonderful idea. You
Right?
made. Yeah.
Right?
I think.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're forced to go to jury duty, it's a right of ours.
Yep.
It's a privilege, I think, in my opinion.
100%.
Right.
Yep.
But I think if we have to go to jury, if we don't show up,
Yep.
you're in trouble.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a warrant out for your arrest at that
Sure.
point, I think,
That's
right? I think it's a warrant,
You're in trouble,
or
yeah.
someone's
No, it's a warrant.
Yeah,
Not
it's
for your, it's not for your
arrest, but it's
It
a
is
warrant. Yeah, they're coming after you.
Yeah.
Why should
Ask me how I
voting
know
be
that.
any different? Now, one can say, well, why should you be forced to vote? What if you have nobody to vote for? Fair.
Right.
Fair.
Right.
But that also, if you have nobody to vote for, it's because you've done no research.
Right.
Again, it goes
Right.
back to being accountable as a citizen. I think if you live in this country, you should feel proud enough.
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
go
100%. But you
To
know what,
go vote.
dude? We're all beating that drum, dude. We're all beating that drum, and I think more and more people need to stand up and be more vocal about it, right? I mean, because
Exactly.
it's
And I
all
think
about-
everybody-
regardless of who you're voting for, you got to show up. So real quick, I just want to go back. You mentioned religion, and I think it's very important. And I really wanted to talk about this. So Don Lemon decides
Lemon. He's a lemon.
He's a lemon. Decides to go into a church and disrupt, peaceful prayer,
Yeah.
and then gets arrested. And then after he gets arrested, he goes on Jimmy Kimmel, and then they're laughing. And
Where was he arrested, by the way? What state? What
Well,
state?
anyway,
What city?
yeah, right, exactly. And so now he goes on Jimmy Kimmel, and he's like, "Ha ha ha! I don't know what the problem was." They're laughing. It's a joke, and and I say to myself, when that happens, first of all, Don Lemon's like, "Well, I didn't know I was going to be arrested." Bullshit.
Bullshit.
If anybody knows, you know.
He's got to revive his career.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, right.
And the idea that he thought it was okay to attack religion that way, I think they kind of mold over this, but they didn't really see what's actually happening here. That's a direct attack on our religion, right? On people's religion.
Specifically Christianity. He'll
Christ-
never do that to a Muslim.
There it is. Right?
Well,
That's
there you
exactly.
said
Or
it.
probably a Jewish.
Manny, me and you are right here
temple.
today.
He'll
That's
never do it.
exactly where I
No.
was going.
Yep.
It is an attack on Christianity. And why did he do that? Why did he do that? Because he thought he could.
Yep, exactly.
Well,
He can get away with
unfortunately,
it. He thought he'd do it. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I think with the Christian faith, and I'm a Christian,
Yeah.
we're told to turn the cheek, unfortunately. Right?
Yeah.
And that comes straight from our
Exactly.
believer.
Exactly.
What we believe in, our Savior, right? So
Yes.
when you think of Jesus saying those words, turn the other cheek, what you're saying is, it's not your responsibility. Let me handle it. And unfortunately, people take advantage of that. Whereas other faiths would never allow this.
Right,
They
right,
would never allow this. There'd be some sort of protest out there. I mean, when was the last time you saw a Christian protest? We don't.
Yeah, look at how that pastor handled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Right.
was
yeah.
really, he handled
He handled it the
right
best,
Christian
the way he was supposed
He was
to.
firm.
He was firm.
But he
And
didn't like, I'm
he-
going to
yeah.
attack you.
Yeah, you're in
Yeah.
my house.
Yeah.
You're in our house.
You're
This
in
is our
my.
house.
This is our house, and you
Yeah.
come in
House.
and you're invading our home.
Yes.
You're not
With
allowed
that,
to do these
It just
things.
bothers me, that smug on his face, like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
he was so condescending and
Well,
like,
whoa. Let's just label for him what he is. He's not a journalist of any sort. And he never was a journalist.
He's an
He's a
instigator.
poster.
Yeah, he's an
He
instigator.
stirs the pot.
Yeah, he's an
That's his
instigator.
job. That's what he's hired to
Gaslighting.
do. He's got
Right.
exactly stir it a little bit, create the story,
Right.
create a little bit of it could be distractions, whatever
Yes.
it may be.
yes.
He was doing the job he was paid to do.
Sure.
He ain't no journalist.
So kind of circling here, this is the narrative. This is what we're talking about. This is where the media gets involved and creates all these narrative. And you get all these pockets of people. And the next thing you know, we're all fighting each other.
Sure.
We don't even know why.
Yeah.
We don't even know why. It's kind of like Black Friday. Everybody's fighting over the one TV in the aisle. They have no idea why. Nobody needs a TV. They don't need it. But they're all beating each other up because it's the last roll of toilet paper. Right? I got to get my toilet paper. Where did that come from? People went nuts over toilet paper.
Mind you, toilet paper is made in the USA.
We are the most intelligent species on the planet.
Says who?
Says us. Because we can speak that, right?
Why? Because we built
Right.
big buildings and now sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry.
dude. You know what?
No.
From my perception, we.
Animals, I think, are a little smarter than us.
I think. Well, you say that. I agree in one sense, but in the other,
we
sense,
will die off before they do.
intelligence rules, right? Like the smartest creature. We have societies. Like we have laws. We hold people accountable. Animals don't really do that. So I argue that just in that sense. But
Okay,
my
but go
point
ahead,
is,
go ahead.
my point is we are programmable, right? So if you have, again, I'm going back to my original point, and when your children are in school, and they're being, I'm so glad to hear that about Case, but in most cases, like my son, for example, he was in the COVID days, And his high school years were in the 2000s.
That was a shame, by the way.
Yeah, it really
he
was.
He caught. My daughter
He
caught
did.
the beginning of it, so she's good. She caught when she was small.
But
she
understand,
don't really remember
dude,
it much.
COVID was just the result.
Yeah.
But how do we get to COVID, right? A lot happened.
Oh my
there
gosh.
was an attack on everything we knew that we called normal leading up to COVID, right? Which included you couldn't say how you feel, you couldn't talk about certain things. People were showing up to school dressed like cats and dogs, right?
It was an interesting time.
Boys and girls were like, it was this transgender,
Non-binary.
right? Like all of that was all, it was all
Pronouns.
festering,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
when I see my son now and I realize that he is a product of what was created in that high school.
It's not
You
his
know,
fault.
and it wasn't just him because I sometimes obviously we grow up parents, we all have struggles, right? And we talk to each other. And I talk to someone else who has a child pretty much the same age,
Yeah.
and they say the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, they're antisocial,
Yep.
right? They have social anxiety. If someone knocks on the door, they run and hide.
Yeah.
They won't answer the door. They run and hide, and they just want to be playing video games all
Absolutely.
day long. And you really have a society of that. And again, back to my original question, and I don't expect an answer, gentlemen, but how do you get to those people? How do you pull them out of that and say, your life is so valuable. You are the
Well,
anomaly,
I'm
right?
gonna
To Joe's question also, he said, how do you get those people to come out to vote?
Yep.
For me, and I think every person who genuinely wants to help the people, I'm going to be talking with thousands of people. And when I talk to them, my focus is to give them a sense of hope.
Sure.
To give them a sense you can't give up. And hopefully I can convince people to really trust me. I want people to trust me because I really care about them. I talk to everybody I read.
That matters. That matters.
I go to
Yeah.
restaurants.
You know, I
talk to everybody.
I
Yeah.
keep hearing the word convince, and I think that's kind of the
Convince.
wrong word. I think educate.
Yeah.
Does that
Let
make
them
correct?
Yeah, let them find out for themselves.
And,
based
and,
on
and I understand
the
what you're saying
information.
with the word convince.
Convince. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
No, I like that.
I think
Yeah.
convince is you're trying to
Trying
make
to-
me think a little
yeah.
bit different, which is fair because maybe that's what we need, right?
Yeah.
But educate,
Educate.
open mind. When you're looking at a list of people to vote for, or you want to look and do a Google search, or go to these events, go to let's say a debate of some sort, and really get to know these people that are running. It really comes down to how the willingness of the person, how much they want to learn. If I'm gonna get in my car, go vote for somebody, I can't vote blindly. That's just one of my principles. I have to know who I'm voting for. But the problem is the information. It's out there, but they're not interested.
So do you
we
think
got to
that-
change the narrative.
but do you think
How
that-
do you make them interested?
Yeah, but do you think the candidates
not
could do a
convinced?
better job of, for example, like me not knowing Roderick's? Is that because he didn't campaign enough and I didn't see him?
Do you know
Right?
Roger?
Could it be that?
Roger doesn't have to campaign.
Well, but I'm saying like
He's a fixture 30
yes,
years.
but not
He'll
me-
never have to spend
okay,
a dollar.
But me not knowing that is
Sure.
because of his lack of campaigning. So
Sure.
is it a matter
Yes.
of
Yes.
telling these candidates, hey, look, that you have to campaign, like you have to get on TV, you have to get on the radio, everybody has to hear your voice at least once if you're running. Otherwise, people don't know. Like to your point, how do I know who's
It's a
even-
qualification.
right? You're just kind of checking names down the list.
You know, we had this conversation earlier, me and Bobby, and I said, if I own a business, I'm not going to hire an electrician to come work for me. I own a painting business.
Right.
I'm not going to hire an electrician to come work for me to paint houses. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. When I look at the people I vote for, when you sat in the chair, I said, this is an interview of some sorts, right? It's a conversation.
Right.
But the way that people who may be watching it on the screen and tuning in, maybe they want it to be more of like an interview,
Right.
to get some information out of you for them to get to know you so they can vote better. And so for me, I feel like there's so many people that get into office that were never qualified to begin with. I watched Mike Sylvia's interview of Carafioli the other day. And the segment, I can't let it go.
wow, right?
I can't let it go. I can't let this go.
Yeah.
I was so shocked. And I'm watching this and I'm like, and Mike, kudos to him. He kept, she would say something and she kind of dance around it and he kept coming at her and like almost
just some context. This is about the light.
and and I'm going to get into that.
Yeah.
And he kept going around and he kept like trying to bring it up like, wait a minute, you're missing the point. the conversation between in that interview was about the Bragger Bridge lights.
Yeah, yeah, I read a bit about
When
that.
she was saying, he brought it up, and how the budget for the bridge was originally $8 million, and now it's around 20 million to do the lights. And she broke it down. She said there was going to be 3 phases apparently. There's the first phase, X amount of money. Second phase, X amount of money, and then the final phase. Apparently, they were going to do some lights on the top. They did those. Those were on, and then I guess they added some ideas. They're going to do some lights at the bottom. They added some things apparently, but they were budgeted for $8 million. And her response drove me insane. She said, "Well, when I got elected in, I was a novice. I knew nothing of the job. Now that's fair. You may not know the details of how certain things work, but you should have.
You can learn pretty quickly.
You can learn pretty quickly. You should have an understanding.
Yeah.
At
You're
least
saying she shouldn't have said that.
she was not. Well, one, I'm happy she did,
No, but I'm saying my point.
but she shouldn't have.
Right, you're
But
saying
she did,
shouldn't have.
and
said
I
that.
think, unfortunately, that's what ends up happening with a lot of people that get into office or run for office. They're not qualified. I think there should be some sort of qualification of some sort, and that could just be based on your answers. Your answers should dictate how if you're going to vote for this person. But I think what ended up happening there, she said all the right things before she voted, before she got elected. And then
there
when
was a lot there, dude.
but,
There was a
but,
lot.
but then all of a sudden, then again, once she got elected, she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like she said, I'm a novice, and I took on this project. And the reason why she took on this project is because she wanted to make a name for
Yeah, but she
herself.
was working in City Hall for the longest time, dude. She was embedded there.
Okay,
forever.
that's my point. My point is she can say she was a novice, and no, so it's either you're a novice.
She knew all the players.
How long has she been in office? Long enough, right? So I have not been in office anymore. Right.
Yeah, yeah, you could probably look that up. I mean, she's been in office long enough now, but when the bridge started is when she just got elected in, and she decided to take on this job. She decided to like, you know what? People keep mentioning to me the Mount Hope Bridge is all lit up, and all these other bridges lit up, and then we have this iconic bridge that everybody knows us because of our bridge. And she said it. We're the gateway to the Cape, from anybody on the one side right to the other side, coming from Somerset, going into it's the Cape.
I would say, what difference does that make? How much money could have fixed the fire department?
Correct.
Right. That's falling apart.
Listen, the lights are a wonderful
Come on.
thing.
Like maybe
That should be
quarter of
surplus money.
Yeah,
That should be money after we take care of the issues that we have in the city
that really matter.
that really matter. Homelessness, maybe some of the drug issues that we see, the buildings that we see, the dilapidated buildings that we see, the fire departments, making sure that the police and the fire departments they're fully funded, that they're not short-staffed. Those things should have been addressed first. Then the bridge can be something. No, she decides before she even sees any of those issues, I'm going to do the bridge. And now, with the DOT said it was supposed to be $8 million. Now it's $20 million. So the question was to her was, how does this happen? Does this happen often enough?
Real quick, she was elected in 2013 in a special election and has been in the House for 12 years.
12 years. So she's been there long enough.
That's
And so, like, if this is just one project that we're doing that's over budget by double the amount of what it originally was, what about all the other projects?
Well, we got the waterfront project that's coming up, and it's like
so is
you
it so
wonder-
so
That's
is it?
what's so frustrating.
Yeah.
We can't see what's behind it.
And this is where the audit would come in. So I think it's a lack of candidates that run that know a little bit about what's going on.
So
I think there's a
So
qualification
what do you
of some
think-
sort.
What do you guys think we're going to find in that audit? If you had to just guess, like
We're
where
going
do
to
you,
find some serious
Bad.
corruption.
Correct, bad. Yeah,
Worse than
yeah,
we might
yeah.
even could imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's going to be really bad.
It's going to be really bad if they allow it.
gonna be
There's a reason why it's at a
yeah,
standstill.
but they don't have a choice though.
Says who?
Right, eventually, right? The beach ball will have
Look,
to.
Can I tell you something?
can only
I
hold
think
a
even
beach.
the Supreme Judicial Court, they're probably going to go along with the
Yeah,
ones that are fighting. So what are you
eventually,
gonna do?
listen, they're gonna just grandstand the whole thing. It's never going to get to the part. And eventually, like you've always said, we're gonna be fed information from Epstein and this and that, wherever, and it's gonna be a distraction. And then before you know
Everyone's
it, that
gonna forget
audit
Yep.
under a rug, and then she leaves. Somebody else comes in.
Yep. Hold
It's
that
never
thought.
The whole
talked about ever
circus
again.
starts all over again.
Two
It's
things,
all
real
over
quick.
again.
Keep that thought going, Manny. You got a list, obviously for signatures. Where will you be? Where can people meet up with you to sign this paperwork?
Yeah.
Where are you going to be at?
We're working it out in the next few weeks.
Okay.
Most likely Tuesday, we'll be at Market Basket. That's what I'm planning.
In Fall River,
In Fall River.
Okay,
on,
okay.
Yeah, up in
South Shore Plaza.
South Shore Plaza.
Yeah, great.
And then other towns. We're going to hit other towns. But I think with Fall River at Market Basket, we can probably get a lot of people from Somerset, Swansea as well, to sign right there.
Okay.
And then we'll hit the other.
And what
towns
day was that? I'm
further.
sorry.
We're aiming for Tuesday.
For this Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. And will it be all day
I will
or?
post it.
Okay. Okay. You know what? I'll share it. If
I'll
you
be
post
there
it,
a lot.
I'll share it.
I'm going to try to be there almost all day.
Okay.
Somebody give me a break to sit there
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
But I want to meet the people who
And
might
you've
want
said
to
that.
ask
You've been
questions,
saying
not
that.
just
You
get
want the
signs.
opportunity to like do one-on-one with people, have a conversation with people.
Come and
So
sign it.
important.
I'll talk
Yeah.
to anybody comes up, ask me questions. Again, I'm not afraid of talking to people.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do that besides just trying to take signatures.
Awesome. With that in mind, 508-475-9499. Call into the show, and we'll put you on the line with Manny, and you can ask him any questions you might have. I know the chat's kind of busy. We've got a lot going on, but kind of following up on this, I got to tell you, like, this is an amazing conversation, and I would like to do this more often. I think we really need to have this kind of dialect because I think people take it for granted, right?
Mm-hmm.
People take for granted the things that are happening around them, and they're just like, well, I turn the faucet on and the water comes out. That's it.
I got hot water.
Right? Nobody gives a shit until they turn that faucet and nothing comes out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
And
it's you nailed it, buddy. You
Right.
nailed it. So like, when is enough, right? So like right now, people are concerned with energy costs, right? Rent,
Yes.
all of that.
Yes.
Right now, I have some stats, right?
Yes.
So like, the average person pays in Fall River $2,200 to $2,700 a month. Depending on certain where you live, how what you're living in. I mean, if it's just a 1-bedroom apartment, it's not going to cost that much.
variable.
But for your average 2 to 3 bedroom apartment, decent living conditions, you're looking at about $2,200 to $2,700 a month. That was a mortgage. That's
That's
a
insane.
mortgage. That is
I
insane.
pay less than that.
You pay less than that.
$2,100.
And so when you
Yeah.
think about that, and then you think of the rising
It's
energy
crazy.
costs,
Yeah.
and that's a state issue thing, right?
It is.
Maybe like, obviously, across the board, across the state, everybody's paying high rents, but some areas are still cheaper than others. If you go to Boston, those same apartments are going for $5,000-$6,000 a month. So we know there's a little bit of a difference. The pay rate's a little bit higher there. But considering that Fall River is not considered for its wealth, let's call a spade, right? It's not considered for its wealth.
No.
There's not a whole lot of wealthy people.
That's
A lot of middle class people live here. Middle class people live here. Some of these people work at Dunkin' Donuts. Some of these people are making $20, $25 an hour. I'm a business owner. I try to pay my guys as much as I can. I don't have a business without them, right? But they still complain that they can't make ends meet. And
It's tough.
one of my guys, I pay $34 an hour, and sometimes I sub out my work, and I'm not afraid to pay for the work that they do. And they complain as well. But they understand that that's part of the business for all of us to eat a little bit. Is there anything, what can we do to either stop the bleeding or reel it back a little bit? Because we know the rents are based upon tax hikes, and that is a city issue.
It's
not a state issue, and I get that.
I think that's a past expense, right? The landlord has to pay more, so therefore the tenant. It's like you pass that
correct.
expense.
So
on.
what can a state senator do in this from a state level
Yep.
to alleviate other costs, like, let's say, energy? Be a voice for on that front. If we can't control rents, fine, wonderful. But we can control.
First of all, get rid of all those little items that you see on that electric bill.
yes.
That's got to go.
Well, there's delivery costs,
Of course.
and then there's third party stuff.
Yeah, but he's mentioning like the social programs,
Right.
the programs.
Gotcha.
Well, not only, yes, a lot
of
we got to
those-
delve deep into what
Yes.
these social programs
Yes.
are really doing. But get rid of those bills, those little itemized things on
Yes.
the electric bill too.
That too.
But that you mentioned the social programs. That's
Yep.
something I've been on my mind. Those social programs, even the health-related things. If we don't know the details, we don't know what kind of waste is going
Absolutely.
on.
Sure.
We just don't.
Right.
My hands are tied.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what's in
Right,
the
because
details.
we want to find
Well,
out.
that's the
We want to
thing.
find out if hamsters get horny when they eat pineapple. That's-
Yeah,
it's so true.
We'll
Yeah.
find that in there when
Yeah.
we get the audit.
Oh, I'm sure it's in there. I'm sure there's a budget for that as well.
I have a video.
Find
I have a video I want to
Go
play
ahead.
for us. Joe, you want to play that video for us? This is Maury Healy, and this is really talking about, I want to set this up real quick, that there's a 30%, so Governor Healy is introducing an energy break aimed at providing immediate relief from the high winter heating costs. While the 30% figure is often used in public discussion, the plan actually combines state-funded and utility deferrals to create a tiered discount for February and March of 2026. Play that for us, Joe.
And Doug, good morning. In tonight's State of the Commonwealth address, the governor will detail plans to immediately cut customer bills for the next 2 months. A 15% cut on electric bills will be paid for with $180 million in existing state funds. An additional 10% cut for electric customers and a 10% cut for natural gas customers still need to be approved by the Department of Public Utilities. Those 10% reductions are actually rate deferrals, meaning that the utilities will be able to recover them from taxpayers, I should say from ratepayers. The move comes a year after our Ben Simino started reporting on skyrocketing natural gas rates, fueled in part by state-approved rate hikes, delivery rates, gas pipe replacement, and programs like Mass Save. That led to changes on customer bills, allowing National Grid and Eversource ratepayers to see the cost breakdown. But there has been little action on Beacon Hill to actually control the costs, including on the energy bill proposed by the governor. So again, the utility companies will be able to recover much of this money by increasing your bills starting in April, when the expensive air conditioning season begins for electric customers, which will make those summer bills even higher. Reporting live this morning in the newsroom, Todd Kiskevich, WCVB
let me interpret that for you. They defer it, so in the springtime, you're going to pay that money back plus interest.
She's throwing crumbs to the people, and she's going to fool a
That's
few people
terrible.
here and there. But
That's terrible.
That's nothing but throwing.
That's terrible.
Let them eat cake.
You know why she's doing that? Because of the election. That's what that's all about.
Oh yeah.
And then
yeah.
after the election's over, we're paying plus interest.
She'll have something in a few weeks. Something
You know,
new. that's
where's
just
the box,
total
Manny?
waste of time.
Where's the box where I can check to say I don't want that? I don't want to defer my payments.
Exactly.
Right? Where's that check box?
Yeah, where's the choice?
You don't have a choice. You know why? Because they're going to make money on the interest. Dude, people lost their homes over this.
Correct.
Right? They did these forbearances. These big, like, oh, no, we're going to give you the relief. You know, don't worry about it. Don't pay it. And then all of a sudden, they got these $16,000, $20,000. Hey, listen, if you don't pay this, you're going to, default on your mortgage.
Yeah. Well, okay, to piggyback off that, which is what's the same thing. I just saw it today, right? The license renewals. Did you see about that? So she proposed today.
Man, we got a list for you, buddy. Like, listen,
Right? Well, to be honest, it's
we
not
have copies. We have copies.
It's
for
not.
Manny.
It's not for him. It's to get his opinion,
No,
right?
obviously.
It's to
Yeah,
get his
yeah.
opinion
Sure,
and
sure.
insight, right?
Yes, yes,
So
yeah.
in this scenario, this is one of the conversations I had earlier today with somebody. What she's proposing is, if you have speeding tickets, unpaid tickets of some sort, could be excise tax or anything like that. What ends up happening if you don't pay those?
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah,
the other
you
day.
get a license non-renewal, right? You
right.
get a non-renewal. You cannot renew your license.
Right.
So what does that mean? If you have no non-renewal, you can't go to
go to
work.
work.
That's
You
right.
can't go to work. So that's how they're
Pay your
pitching it.
bill. Yeah.
But what does it do?
Well, they do the same thing with child support. Like, if you don't pay child support, they take your license away. So now you can't go to work to make money to pay the child support.
But here's the thing. I'm
Now-
for them. Listen, I've had a few speeding tickets in my time. I've had sometimes bills.
You, bro?
Oh,
No
100% with the cars I
way.
had. And what would happen was, when I was a little shithead, I wouldn't pay those bills out of defiance. And what would happen? I wouldn't be able to renew my license. And that's fair. That is on me.
Yes.
I did the wrong.
Right.
I didn't pay the bill.
Right.
And now it's coming to bite me in the ass. Okay. Rather than, now what she's saying is she wants to get rid of that. Where if you have unpaid parking tickets, excise tax, you can still, it won't come up as it'll come up as a marker, but you can still get your license renewed.
Right.
So what is the incentive to pay those bills?
None.
None. There is. So again, we're taking the responsibility and the accountability away from people. Don't worry about it. We got you. It's, for me, if that's the case, and you're seeing that people are having a hard time because it is hard to pay bills these days, rather than get rid of it, still keep it there, but have some sort of payment plan.
Well,
If your bills are $700, $800, I get it. You can't just pay all of that because you need to pay that in full to get your license renewed. The IRS, if you can't
Right.
pay your tax, you
Yes.
can go on a payment plan.
Go into
Why
there.
is this any different?
Automatically take it out of your paycheck.
And
like
I knew,
that.
and I knew you would agree with this.
Something like
I knew you would agree because it makes sense. And what they're saying, and they're not appealing to the people who have common sense. They're appealing to the people who have multiple parking tickets and excise tax that never pay it.
Right.
So
That never pay it.
Right.
that's just what.
More voters.
In a few weeks, she's going to have another scheme to whatever.
It's a scheme.
help
It's a
circuit.
scam.
Well, it's like the carbon tax, right? If you drive, they want to charge you per mile, whatever you drive. the most insane. So again, the people
62%, by the way. Right there.
Yeah.
62% approval rating, by the way. Wow. By I don't know what poll.
I'd like to see who's poll.
Look right there.
Who's the poll?
Oh, that's my son commenting.
Garrett?
He knows what's going on.
Tiago.
Yeah.
Tiago.
Tiago.
62%.
He's on top of the data.
62% approval rating.
How's that possible?
How is that possible?
Right.
Probably
What poll is this?
So is it the people looking at their energy bills? Because anybody looking at their energy bills cannot agree with this.
Listen.
Because she stopped the pipelines.
You
And
see
I
it.
cannot believe
And she's-
that approval rating.
Hydropower.
I don't know.
You hear her? We're taking hydropower from
Canada.
And Canada's like, oh, no, we don't.
She's just throwing out all these
Yes,
lies. I'm
yes,
sorry. She's
yes,
throwing out all these
yes,
lies.
yes.
And again, if the average person is not paying attention,
Yep.
they'll just see a quick soundbite in the news. Wow, she's doing a pretty good job.
mass
Right.
save. There's
No.
mass save
Right.
scams.
Dude,
All
do you
day long. All day
Let me
long.
ask you a question.
That's a scam.
Guys, do you
It's a scam.
think that clip that we played today,
Yeah.
how many people watched that clip and actually processed the deferral part? Like that they're going to have to pay this later. Like all they see is, oh, it's a 30% discount.
Right,
Okay.
But
right.
is anybody
Yeah.
processing that they're going to
No.
have to pay this at the other
Well,
end?
I think for me, it comes down to law of averages, and the fact of the matter
That's a
is,
good point.
it's the law of averages, and it's not going to work. If you know how the law of averages works, if you try to sell 10 people on an item, you invite 10 people to a party, right? How many of those people actually show up, right? Maybe one or two actually show up out of the 10. It's the same. It's the same thing. We're all programmed to think a certain way. Like you said, if the water is still warm out of that faucet, why are you complaining? The bill is going to go up. As long as we deliver the product, it doesn't matter what it costs. It doesn't matter. All we're going to do is defer all of that to the business owners, and what they're going to do is, well, we have to pay these people more, right? And so, like, you're forcing the hand of business owners to have to pay their employees more, which we talked about earlier. We're okay with paying it if it makes sense.
Sure.
It's got to. Everybody has to eat, right? Everybody has,
100%.
and unfortunately, it's what I don't see is that the people who are in charge at the top, being politicians, at the state level, there's no accountability there.
Sure.
It's just
Well, again, we don't have an
And
audit.
they know
So they
it.
can't.
And-
there's no
and-
and
accountability.
until we have an audit,
They're in
we will
full
never know.
control.
Yep.
We got 35-5, and then the House is not almost as bad, and they got full control, and they couldn't care less what you think.
Yeah.
And it's just full arrogance on display.
So you have your hands full once you get in.
Yeah.
Being elected,
It'll still
in-
be a big battle.
It's a big
It'll be
battle. It's a big battle.
Fight.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be offered something to get along, go along.
Yeah, of course.
And I'll tell people right now, I'm not going along to get along with any of that nonsense.
Sure.
I will call them out. In fact, God willing, when I get elected, I'll be calling them out in my acceptance speech. I say, don't even come close to me and asking me, oh, you can get on this committee if you do this and that.
Right.
Oh, they're going to be reaching out to you
Right,
way
you got
before
another
that.
$10,000 for this committee. if you
They'll
do
reach
this.
out to you more than that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them,
Yeah.
see
You get that.
later.
You
Bye-bye.
get that traction. Trust me.
Yeah.
They'll be calling you real.
They'll
soon.
be calling me.
Absolutely.
Real
So
soon.
I'll take the first shot off the bow.
Yeah. So
As soon
just
as I get
shifting a
elected.
little bit,
Yeah.
I just want to
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
law enforcement. Obviously, Seth is
Law
running.
enforcement, yeah.
Seth Aiken. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm a supporter of Seth. I think.
Yeah, I
I
went
think
to his fundraiser.
We should have him back on
appreciate
the
him.
show.
He had nothing but great things to say about you
He
as
is a
well.
good guy.
And
Good
so,
guy.
like, my question to you, Manny, is: do you have a relationship with Seth? And and if God willing, if it all works out and Seth does get voted in, do you see that relationship where maybe we can support our law enforcement? I think he's that direct connection. You know what I mean?
100%.
To,
I mean-
to get to that.
We've met maybe 3 or 4 times.
Oh,
spent
great,
some time
great.
talking.
Yeah.
His fundraiser was like in the dead of winter a few weeks ago, and went there and we had a little chat. I see myself working well with him. I like him a lot.
Sharp dresser.
Yeah.
He dresses
yeah.
real sharp. Yeah.
He's a great conversationalist. I really appreciate. Yeah, he's
Well,
yeah,
you know
he's-
what it is? He comes with this confidence that I
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
I
He
like a
has a
person.
confidence,
He's
that's
got a
true.
confidence.
Yeah.
He can captivate a room. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say I call it the Brady effect. Right. So if Brady was to walk through this door, right, regardless of what he
Well,
does.
if Seth, if you're listening, that's like a really great compliment. Yeah.
Well,
We're just Tom Brady,
let me
Seth Aiken.
let me explain. Let me explain.
That's his campaign now.
Yeah.
Seth Aiken, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, inspired by Tom.
Tom Brady.
There's an element. There's certain people that can carry that energy with them, and they exude. It just comes off of them so naturally where they have his presence. And I feel like he's got such a confidence in what he does.
He does.
If you believe in what you do,
Yeah.
like Brady believed in what he knew he was the GOAT.
Sure.
Right. I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
There's an energy that I think certain people have, and they can captivate a room. You can see when they walk in. It's the way they walk. It's the way they talk, how they present themselves. And you don't have to know anything about them, but their presence and how they carry themselves says,
I
says
wonder.
so much. He has that presence.
I know that he struggled. I mean, we talked, and he said it. He's like, I know he struggles with the current sheriff, and most
Most people do.
I know, and most do. Like,
I have
imagine-
friends that work there, by
Yeah.
the way, and they're all like jumping off like
Yeah, and so like
they're all getting out.
To
of
me,
there.
that was the only concern that I had because I realized how important that is. Right, like that's really a lifeline. You know what I mean? And how we manage that prison really, if you look at the temperature of that prison, it really speaks to what's happening in our society around us. Right? You know, obviously, if it's too many, what's happening in society? Too much crime, right? And then you got people that go in there and then they start these programs and they're letting people just walk out the door, and then these repeat offenders. And then I kind of, not to bring it up again, but I go back to the Will Flanagan situation where a lot of these criminals, not only are they psychologically unfit to be amongst society, but a lot of these people, they just don't care. They've been through the system. They've been processed and spit out and spit out and spit out.
What do you do with people like that?
That's, Manny, that's kind of where I was going.
Well, I don't know, but I was just go ahead.
To piggyback, so I guess to help you out, you have mentioned we've closed I don't know how many asylums.
Right. The psychological.
And unfortunately, those people are ending up in prisons and not getting help. They're just being held.
Yes.
And so when their time is up, rather than getting the help, all you're doing is making them worse by not getting the help and putting them with other criminals.
Right.
And so they come out, kind of like what happened to that guy that just shot those two police officers, right? I mean, he shot two people over apparently a sweater or something that hit the floor, and they got into an argument, and he shot them 15 years ago. And then we released. I'm sorry, somebody that has that kind of a trigger, that kind of a temperament, should never be released.
I mean, even now, I think the age situation. I mean, I look. I don't quote me, but I know that there's a large number of inmates who committed crimes as minors that are being released. And a lot of these crimes are heinous crimes. They're murders.
Do you think they should be released?
They're like aggravated rapes, things of that nature. And the question is like, well, should they be in prison for the rest of their lives?
Yes.
And again, I personally think consequence, right? Whatever. If you take a life, then you have forfeited your life. So for me, that's an easy one. So, but you have a narrative that says that we're going to release these people, and to your point, now. These children, they were kids, right? You throw them children or young adults. You put them in prison. They don't know what society is, right? They've been in prison for so long.
Absolutely.
And then you're like, whoop, here you go.
Here you go.
Off you go.
And you want them to understand how society works.
There it is. So is that part of it? Is that part of the plan to just like create chaos in society? Just let these people run around? Because
it's a big problem. What do we do about it?
Right.
What do we do about the homeless person that refuses to get help?
You
There's
said
that
it.
civil liberties thing that, it's a fine line sometimes. You
Right,
know, I
right.
have a right to do what I want to do. But they need help.
well, you can't.
You can't go around murdering and raping people.
You can't
I
yell
mean,
fire in
I'm not talking about those.
Yeah.
Those are murdering and raping people. I'm in it. Put them away.
Put them away.
But it's so sad when you see a lot of these homeless folks who are they need help.
They need help.
And
They broke in and stole something. Now, like you say, they're in prison for years.
Yeah.
And
Well,
what do they do for their mental
They
health?
can't even get into these overnight shelters because once you have a crime,
Yes.
You're
you're not allowed to.
Okay,
So where do you go?
So it's a
Where do you
difficult
go?
conversation to have.
It really is.
It's a
It really is.
big problem
It
right
is.
now.
It is.
That has to be worked out.
Yeah.
for
Okay,
better.
so that being said, we have 4 people here. What would be a solution? Maybe a possible solution that maybe they're not thinking of.
Purpose.
Like
Purpose. To me, easy purpose.
No, I'm saying what do we do with them, right? So if putting them in prison doesn't work, they won't get the help. All of the above, whatever. What is another option? What can we do?
I would
because
love-
you're right. We can't. They're on the corners. If you go through the trail, right? You go through to the railroads.
Panhandling everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid that it's always existed. And I worked in Providence, and it was bad in Providence. I worked in Providence about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, actually more than that, about 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was right down on Westminster Street. And I can tell you something right now. Westminster Street was a war zone. If you want, it was the closest thing to what I can consider. What's that? Is it Skid Row?
Yeah.
that's what it was. Westminster Street was
Right.
terrible.
Yeah, I remember years
They were,
ago being
yeah,
down
and
there.
they were all out there. You, as soon as you walk out of the store or the CVS, it's right there. It's
be
right to the train
careful.
station. 5 or 6 of them instantly are hitting you up with money, and they're aggressive, and you feel like they're going to attack
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Like you feel the aggravation. You feel like almost the thug mentality.
they learn it.
while they're asking you for a
but-
couple of
but
dollars.
They learn a process. They learn that. That's learned. Like they know.
What do
that
you do with
if-
that? Now, the mayor of that city at the time was, I can't remember that Spanish dude's name. Can't remember his name.
Yeah, I forgot it.
I forgot his name. He was the mayor then. And so that street would have a lot of policing because a lot of those businesses were complaining. You know, people won't even come to our stores
Right.
because of this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
right.
It's bad enough parking is an issue.
That's what happened in California, like the hypodermic needles.
And what did
yeah,
he do? Rather than having more police presence there and getting these people away, and some of them had clear mental issues. Clear. I worked there. I saw it every day. I was approached every day. He ended up telling the police officers, "You do nothing. Back off. Let them be." It pretty much took the powers away of the police
Yeah.
to police that
It
street,
demoralized them.
and the numbers quadrupled.
Yeah.
Right.
Because now they know they can be out there.
They're doing whatever.
And they can do whatever they want. And all you see is people peeing on the streets. You saw people pooping on the streets.
Yeah.
It was drugs and needles everywhere. And the panhandling got aggressive. Like women were getting
What did
attacked.
Rudy Giuliani do? He cleaned. Remember New York?
Cleaned house.
Remember there was like they had like a. It was literally an epidemic.
Cleaned house.
And within a week.
Cianci did pretty good in Providence too. With
Yeah,
that. He
yeah,
was
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
liberal on that.
yeah. And so in these areas, you just need an aggressive
Yeah, they passed out
leadership.
They passed out airline tickets
Yeah.
to Florida. That's
Yeah, because
Right?
they'll be-
Hey, I know a place for you, a place for you.
yeah, those homeless guys or the panhandlers may be able to stay around and hang around because they got the freedom to walk.
Yes.
But at least you got the police there to keep an eye on them.
Right.
And get them.
We
moving
can't
if
stop
they're-
them from being
We
there.
can't stop.
And
them
I
from being-
agree with you, and you shouldn't.
So there's the laws.
But
and
having the
everything,
police, the
yeah.
walking beats.
Yeah.
Man, I remember the walking beats. The guy, the police officers on bikes.
Yeah.
What happened to that?
yeah, but even in this case, there's not much you can do. What I believe
a
we
police
need to
presence
do
goes a long way.
is, I think, an independent investigation as to what's causing this. Like, I don't think everybody I've ever talked to about
You mean
this,
like an
I had-
audit?
I had Nikki Glazer on the show,
mean
right?
like one
I
of
had
those?
I had Nikki on the show, right? And I asked
Yeah.
her that question. I'm like, what's causing this? And she's
Yeah.
like, well, people go through hard times and drugs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I accept
Okay,
that,
I understand.
but
We all know somebody.
But it's more. This is
More.
this is grand. This is more than usual.
It
So-
is because there's so many people in the last year or so in Fall River and other places now homeless for the first time in their lives.
Right.
Why?
Right. And they're coming from everywhere, like Lowell and
Hardworking people.
Yes.
That lost
Absolutely.
whatever.
Remember the
Coogan himself on video in front of Shell gas station told one of those panhandlers, "You're not from this city. Get the hell out." This is a couple of years ago. People forget about this stuff.
Well, it's because
But that's what you need. You need leadership like that. Now,
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything he does,
Yeah.
but I agreed with that.
Yeah, but how's that guy gonna go? Like, where's he gonna go?
It's presence. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
I would say it's the presence. When you have a strong leader, when you have strong officials that can walk up to, let's say, City Hall, Beacon, and say, "Hey, whoa, wait a minute, State House, wait a minute, this isn't acceptable," and voice it and act upon
But
it.
what's the cause, David?
It creates.
But
Listen,
what's the cause? Like, I get it. You're there. You're at the effect. My
I'm at the
question
effect.
is, let's go. What's the cause? Why are these people becoming homeless? What is the cause? Is it they've lost their jobs? Is it that it's hardship in their homes?
drugs.
Like, what is
a lot of it is
Is it
drugs.
always drugs, though?
Yeah,
man? Is
I would say
is
so.
that-
Most of it, I would say so.
Because you know what?
I would
Nikki
say that a lot of it is increasingly becoming can't afford to live there.
can't afford to
Can't
live.
pay their rent. They
Yeah.
finally have to leave.
Nikki told me that in Fall River, like with drugs, like you can get put into a home, but then you're released. There's only a limit of time. But if it's alcohol, these people are coming from other states. They're coming from other places because with alcohol, once you put somebody in, you can't throw them out. Like you have to hold on to them. And so what's happening is these people are coming here knowing that, and they're not leaving. So you got a lot of this influx from like Lowell and these other places. And because
Correct.
they know that
Correct.
there is, like I say this all the time, I have a terrible analogy, guys. But if you feed a stray cat, there's 3 more tomorrow, and then there's 6,
yeah.
and then there's 12. Like
True.
they learn that,
Yeah.
this is where the food is.
Yeah.
I don't have to work for it.
That's right.
And again, Crystal Arper from Citizens for
Yeah,
Citizens.
yeah, I know
She's an amazing human being.
Yeah, I met her.
She's putting bags together and she's helping these people to feed them.
Yeah.
But the thing is like we have this conversation, and she's such an amazing human. She's like, Bobby, at this point, what else can we do? Right? We have to help them. We can't say, hey, we're not going to give you. Hey, you came here yesterday. You're not going to eat today.
Right.
So the question is like, she's giving this and she's helping them, but by the same token, it's almost like I want to help you, but I know I'm not. Right? Right? And then it's a perpetual. And then people are making money, and it's like this. It's become this machine, and it's almost like you need them here. Like they become part of the process.
My fear is going to get worse and worse and worse.
Sure.
More
You
and
don't
more
see it getting
homeless
better.
from Fall River by next year. And the next few years probably can't stop it much.
Yep.
But if you can't, if we can't stop these dirty politicians from doing what they're doing, is lining their pockets at our expense and lining the pockets of illegal aliens. Look, I was a legal immigrant. I've said that before in the first interview. I came here. I was called a coon by a fellow Cape Verdean because I believe in legal immigration. That's how some people are totally messed up in their heads.
Right.
And
Were you called a coon by your own people?
a fellow Cape Verdean.
Well, it's dude, he's winning, right? I don't want to see you win.
It's
Like that's what that
ridiculous.
is. That's what that is.
Isn't that
That's what
wild?
is.
That's
Yeah.
a wild.
And I
that's a
said,
crabs in a
wild-
bucket.
and I said, do you
Crabs in a
expect
bucket.
me
It really
to
is.
what?
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
Crabs in a
make a
bucket.
special exception for my fellow Cape Verdeans. Yeah, okay, you can come in. No,
No.
we have to be perfectly fair to everyone. My
100%.
parents brought seven kids plus. My oldest sister stayed for a few years because she was married. He brought 7 kids here after waiting quite a few years to come legally.
Can you explain that process, by the way? I mean, do you remember? Do you know the process
I
based on
came when I
personal
was
experience?
I was gonna
6.
say he was 6 years old. Yeah.
So he was 6 years old.
But he waited. He might have gotten some, maybe, I think he probably waited 5 or 6 years.
Sure.
And he became as a pastor. That might have helped.
This
because
is
obviously my dad.
your dad.
Yeah. So that might have helped. But I know we waited several years to come legally.
Sure.
And
And
why
what
are
year
these
was?
people-
What year was this? I'm sorry. What year was
61.
this? 61. So this is even during
couple of
the
years-
Salazar years.
Yeah, a couple of years before.
This was the Great Immigration.
This is
Yeah.
the Great Immigration
Yeah.
Yes,
during
the
that
Great
time.
Immigration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Continue.
So yeah.
When
yeah.
your dad came,
Yeah.
that's exactly when his dad and my mom came over.
So what do you expect me to do?
Right.
Curry favors to Cape Verdeans, but everybody else got to come in legally?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell my fellow Cape Verdeans, and I have Cape Verdeans that support me all the way in this. They believe in legal immigration.
Right.
Well, it affects them.
It affects them.
Sure.
I think it's the image, right? The image, right? So we know that when you think of illegal immigration, and unfortunately there's a stigma that goes with it. Everybody always thinks it's just one race, one target of people, which are South American people, right? And I mean they forget there's many. America is made of it's a melting pot. There's many people that have gravitated here.
Yeah.
There's the Portuguese, the Irish came here. We've all been discriminated against at some point, one way or another.
Yeah.
We survived it. We move on, and now whatever. We forget that image is everything. Back in our parents' time, my father always said, my father's already passed on, but he always said, when you're out there, you carry my name. I mentioned so many times, you carry my name. It's important to me that you act a certain way. You are a certain way because you represent me
Right.
when you're out there. Anytime
You're
I've ever
Duat Sousa's son. That's
That's
who you are.
That's right.
That's who you
I
are.
am Duar Sousa's son.
Yes.
Don't you ever forget
Yes.
that when you're out there. Now, and it was a 2-part thing. When I went out there and I heard people mention my dad, they always said great things about my dad, and that was it. That was the 1+1. That was
They're
I
like,
get
Duat,
it. I get
Duat's
it.
got the best moonshine.
The best moonshine, the best wine, or he's just a great guy. He's so funny.
Yeah.
All these great things. And I'm like, I get it, because I would want my father to be spoken highly of, and
Yeah.
vice versa. You want your kids to be the same way. Now tie that into culture. You want to uplift your fellow
Absolutely.
Cape Verdean.
Absolutely.
You want your fellow. So me giving you favors is not helping you out.
No.
Me holding you accountable, like my dad held me accountable, like his dad held him accountable,
Yes.
is what helps us out.
Sure.
Fortunately, we have this element that says, well, you don't need to do that in the state. It's okay.
Yes.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Can I add to that?
Yeah,
a little bit?
absolutely.
I also believe that we can fix it. I think.
Oh,
that-
it's fixable.
I think the system is not working for anyone. I think.
It has to
Listen,
be fixed.
if
It's
I can
not
get a
be
passport in 6 months, right, and that's long. That's some people wait 6 weeks, but to say I have to wait 6 months for a passport, that's acceptable. Why can't you get somebody immigrated here in 6 months? Why does it take years and years and years? I don't understand that process.
That process is bizarre, by the way.
All right, so here, check this out, and this is my counter. The IRS. Every single one of us files taxes every year.
Correct.
Right? So 330 million Americans that...
Well, you got to factor, get rid of the kids. Adults, right? So...
All right, let's just say 300 million.
Let's call it 200 million. Let's call it 200 million.
No, I'd say 300 million.
You say 300 million?
Yeah, I'll say 300
Okay, 300
million. All
million.
right, 30 million kids. Let's just say 300
a lot more
million.
than
It doesn't really matter, but you think those 300 million, do the math. Think about it.
No. It's wild. Now, it's man. I think about it because it's like I see what's going on with ICE and throughout the whole country, and it's unfortunate. I don't like what I see. I think it's creating obviously a divide. Is it purposely done? A little bit. I think it's a tool that's being used
Theater.
right now.
I think it's some theater.
There's some theater there. I wish the president had a little bit of a different approach. I think if people came here legally, overstayed a visa, they were supposed to be here for a short period of time or a short time, and they've overstayed. I can understand that. I can also understand the fact of someone crossing a border because where they come from is terrible. I can understand that as well. I'm sympathetic to that. I would never not be sympathetic. If those people who have crossed the border or overstayed a visa, their only crime that is documented is that alone. That's the only crime you've committed.
Okay.
I'd be okay with, let's say, the president saying, "Hey, listen, you know what?
Let me check
You
you.
shouldn't have done that."
Yeah, but let me check
and
you
you.
on
You
that.
know what? And you know what? Shame on you.
I have-
You're gonna have to pay a fee.
Yeah, but I have a license to carry.
Sure.
Okay? I have a license to carry.
I was going somewhere with that, but good.
I cannot let it expire. If I let my license expire, they're going to come take my guns.
Correct.
There's no period in there of grace period.
But you don't. But you're not kicked out of the country, right?
No, but we're talking about rights. We're talking that's your freedoms are taken, right? You can't.
Correct.
You can no longer be here. But my point in saying that is I have to be responsible enough to renew my license to carry. I have
In
to.
Fall River, they'll take it away from you.
They'll take it away. Yeah, they'll take it away.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's Massachusetts. So it's your Massachusetts license to carry. And I of course I have a large capacity, so I have some larger guns.
Yeah.
They will come take your guns.
But let's say that person can't financially. They just
Okay.
can't, and they're put in a position. People struggle
What does
every
it
day.
cost anyway? Is it expensive to go through that process? Like a green card? Is it expensive?
See, these are things that people
Yeah, I
don't
have
talk
no
about.
idea.
We
Yeah, I
don't
have no
know.
idea.
If a person's here for
Couple thousands.
okay, if a person's here for 10 years, they have a visa.
Yeah.
They should have the ability
To
in
renew.
those 10 years
to renew.
either renew
become a
that
citizen.
or not so much become a citizen. They don't have to become a citizen.
Temporary
Or get
I would think they'd have a chance to try to for a green
Correct.
card.
Yeah,
for a
right?
couple-
Yeah.
Correct.
Green card.
Why
Yeah.
are not we offering this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why are we? I think it eliminates so many issues that we're going with. But then again, it goes back to maybe they don't want to solve this issue. Maybe this is the ongoing fight. You said there can't be cops without robbers. Does that make sense?
Right. Well.
So is this a necessary evil that we have to just accept? They don't want to
No,
fix it?
no. I think
for me,
no,
it just makes sense. If I'm
Yeah.
the president of the United States
Yeah.
and I'm a Republican,
Yeah.
and
I think it's fixable.
it's so fixable.
Yeah.
You can find the criminals. You can find the ones that have committed the crimes. They have records. They've been in jail. They whatever. Take those, put them in a box, ship them out. I don't mean in a box. I don't mean that kind of box. But like in a
pine box,
in a
David?
pine box. Put them in a tube, right? Put them in a tube that goes up in the air and ship
Shoot
them
'em
back
out.
out. Ship them up
Yeah.
in the air. Get rid of them.
It would be so easy, but then you've got Wu and
Yes.
Healy and everybody else
Yes.
fighting to
Marquis,
keep
all them. Yes.
killers and
Yes.
rapists here. What?
And that's the
the
bizarre.
logic of all this?
You're not fighting for the person who has an expired
Yeah.
green
You know
card.
what the
You're
worst part
fighting
is?
for the guy who has a
Yeah.
criminal record.
Do you hear,
What are we doing
Do
here?
you hear the way the politicians speak about our ICE agents? Our ICE agents are federal agents, right?
Yeah.
And the way that our politicians talk about them is disgraceful. That they're thugs, they're doing their jobs.
Well, ICE.
Yes, they're doing their jobs the way they swore
No.
their oath to the Constitution of the
Let me
United
ask
States
you
of
a
America.
question. How
What
many-
right do you have to say those things?
How many people? How many do you think? It's probably a great number. You could probably figure it out. It's probably a stat that's actually out there. How many Democrats in the country actually own guns, can defend themselves if someone were to rob their house?
Yeah, I don't know.
Versus, like, let's say a conservative.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure.
I'd-
I'm
Probably
sure.
a lot.
One.
Are we
What-
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
Massachusetts?
It could be a state. Could be.
I was
be
about
cor-
to say I don't own a firearm.
No, but I'm saying I understand. But I'm saying, like, let's say legally, you go through the state, you go through whatever, and you get your license to carry. How many Republicans versus Democrats actually are licensed to carry?
So
in a case like that, the chances of a Democrat actually calling the police in case of a break-in or whatever, are I think would be much higher than somebody who has their own weapon to protect them.
Sure. Hold on. No. So
And
Nelson,
this is the same party that wants to defund them.
yeah, Nelson Rigo says if they come to the U.S. Via visa, student or work, they have to apply first for a green card, and then after 5 years they can apply to become a U.S. citizen.
Can you give him the phone number? Can you give Josh the phone number? Josh wants to call in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Say that again. I'm so sorry. Josh was trying to call
Yeah,
in.
Josh, 508-475-9499. 508-475-9499. Okay, and it was, so if you come here with a visa, student or work, you have to apply for a green card, and after 5 years, you could apply to become a citizen.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the phone number again?
508-475-9499.
I mean,
There's such a complex mix.
It's
though,
such
with
a
all this.
complex
It's
thing.
just a total mess.
Yeah.
All of these issues.
Yeah, yeah.
Immigration, legal, who can stay, who can leave. I mean, I've got 2 people that I really want to come to the States for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're waiting patiently. Friends of mine that, I'm helping overseas a little bit with some support. And it just drives me crazy to see that they're not able to come yet.
yeah. And these are good people.
Good people. This
good
young
people.
man is like almost my son, in a sense.
I
Another
remember you
son.
mentioned him in the episode. Yeah,
young
we
man
talked
from
about
Why is that
Liberia.
so difficult? Why is that so
Why?
difficult? So what they're saying, it's it's easier to, let's say,
I just said
where's
that
he
to
from?
you,
Cape
Jody.
Verde?
Liberia.
Liberia. This is a person who's coming from Liberia, coming over, and their best chance of coming here is to go through an entry port like Canada or Mexico
Right.
to get into the States. And then once they get in, the Democrats will fight for them to stay.
Yes.
That's easier than applying for a green card status.
Josh, welcome to the show, buddy.
Wild.
Is he here?
Yeah, volume's up. I don't see anybody going through though.
Yeshua, you here?
Did we not test
We
this?
tested it, bro.
And it was working, and now I got nothing
Oh,
from it.
no.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, hold on.
There it is. I heard somebody.
Are you there, Josh?
Whatever
No.
he just did, it worked.
No, I went off of I went to speaker.
I'll put it on speaker then.
I know. Yeah, Josh, we can hear you, buddy. I'm sorry you're not on the roadcaster. We're having technical difficulties with that. I'm gonna send that back to China, but you're on the mic, bro. How you doing, brother?
Good guys. Good
I
show.
got it.
I'm enjoying listening. I just wanted to chime in. I think, a lot of the drama that we're seeing around the ICE operations is really just fueled by these Democratic politicians that are just like scaring people into thinking they're like the Nazi Gestapo is coming to town to kill everybody. And it's just not what's happening. And those 2 people died, but they were interfering with law enforcement both times. So, I mean, I'm not justifying them getting shot, but they shouldn't have been doing what they were doing. They should have been interfering.
Agreed.
And then the politicians, the Democrats, are just taking that and running with it. They're killing Americans and they're hunting people down. I had a robocall
Propaganda.
a couple nights ago it was Jay Coffenfoss, the congressman, and it opened up, it was a town hall, you could ask questions, and he opened up with a statement saying Donald Trump sending paramilitary forces into our towns. To
Gaslighting, dude. Gaslighting, bro.
Exactly.
Right, so I actually got to ask a question, and the person that was like taking the questions, I said to the person, I said, "Can you tell me more about these paramilitary forces? Because my wife and my kid was scared. We need to know, like, who are you talking about?" And it was like, I was being facetious,
Yeah.
but what they're saying is absolutely delusional.
It's propaganda.
crazy.
It's fear.
And they're scaring people, and people believe this stuff.
Yep.
Right.
And it's just crazy. It's crazy. If you don't want to get shot, don't follow these people around, and then when they're like, funny, you try running them over when they're telling you step out of your vehicle, like, that woman wouldn't have got shot if she listened to them. Like,
Right.
they told her to get out the vehicle, and she was harassing them.
Sure.
All things you should not do with law enforcement.
Yep.
And whether you agree with law enforcement or disagree, when I see men with, or women, whoever, soldiers or people dressed in military gear, they got bulletproof vests, rifles, I'm going the other way. I'm not going to get involved.
100%. 100%.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Regardless if I like them or I don't like them or they're good or they're bad, I'm just not getting involved. As long as they're not coming for me or whatever, like, or my family, like, they're not doing that, though. They're going after people. You came in, there was a guy in the paper today from Ireland. He overstayed his visa. Oh, boo-hoo.
I saw that.
He doesn't belong here. And just like you said, Bobby, if your driver's license or your gun license is expired, guess what?
Yeah, they don't care.
No more guns.
They don't care.
License,
Yep.
right there. So why should these people be, oh, well, you know, the guy works. I don't care.
It fits their narrative, bro. It fits their narrative, brother. That's why.
Tell him he's too smart for this.
I'm sorry. You gotta go home. You gotta do your paperwork. You gotta pay the money. You gotta do whatever it is, just like the rest of us. And we have to do a lot over here to survive.
100%.
Amen to that, buddy. Amen to that.
It's nonstop. It costs a lot of money. So these people, I don't care. Send them back. Their kids, everybody, their wives. I don't care who it is. Call me whatever you're gonna call me. I don't care. I know them. I'm just following the law.
Yep.
If you don't like the laws, they should change the law to, hey, if you overstay your visa and it's 5 years and you haven't got in trouble, then you can stay. But right now, that's not the law.
Right.
The law is you can't overstay your visa. You have to come legally. Those are the laws. If you don't like the law, change the law.
100%.
Right now, ICE is enforcing those laws just like any other law.
Absolutely.
And
They're doing their jobs. They're doing their jobs.
Such a-
Their constitutional duties.
It's
He hit on the
like
money.
we're talking about the homeless people in the city. Oh, what are we going to do? They don't want to come in. A lot of these people are just getting high. They got drugs on them. They have criminal records. They have weapons. Enforce the law. If you have drugs on you, that's illegal. You're getting arrested. You have a weapon on you, you're getting arrested. You got a warrant, you're getting arrested. But what are we doing forever? Oh, we have a trailer that comes to them and you can take a shower and do your laundry. Oh, we have a warming center and everybody's volunteering and it's such a great thing. But the people that are following the rules every day,
Right.
and paying the taxes and doing all the right things, we just shut up. You're not compassionate. You don't, I don't care. It's just, that's what's ruining this state right now, is all of this just, and like you said, Bobby, feed a straight cat, they're coming in.
Yep.
They keep coming. That's why we're seeing what we're seeing in Fall River. And I'm going to disagree with one of your pal there. I forgot his name.
David.
But he's saying, like, Coogan showed strength when he was
He
telling
misunderstood
that lady
me.
to go back to Cumberland.
That's fine.
That lady was collecting money for, like, cheerleading or something. Like, he would never go up to some homeless guy and, like, nodding out on the ab and, like, pick him up and be like, this guy's going to go to jail. Like, he would never do that. He hides out.
Hey, was that the one that she was on the median and he was saying, "Get this kid out of here! You're putting the kid in danger."
He said, go back to where you came from. Apparently, it was Cumberland, Rhode Island. Apparently,
That
she's
was
from.
his, like, soft target to go after.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? He doesn't go after the hard target. He's going after the soft. And what we have in the city and in the state, in California, same thing, is these homeless people, they're cash cows.
Yeah.
They keep people employed. They keep the grant money coming. They get people with the nonprofits are making money. The CEOs are making money. So it's, I don't know how to fix it all, but the problems that we have, it's like we're enabling all of it. We're not doing it. That's the politics.
No, right. But we're encouraging the behavior. We're not encouraging. Like we're actually encouraging it. Yes.
We are.
Encouraging it. So
Yes.
that's why we're seeing more of it. There are people that are down and out. They should get the help. The illegals and these people that are hooked on drugs and there's no law enforcement. That's why we have what we have. That's what we're seeing.
100%. Josh, thank you so much for calling the show, brother. I really appreciate you, dude. I appreciate all the support. I see you, brother, and I want to say thank you, man. You means a lot to the show, brother.
Tell him I don't like him anymore.
All right, buddy. I'll keep listening.
Hey, brother. Have a good one. Thanks.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Those are some really great points.
Let me tell you something. He nailed it. I mean, he disagreed with me. I mean, maybe I was wrong on the whole what happened in that scenario. I know. I remember seeing the video.
Yeah.
The video's out there. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I remember him yelling.
I don't know the context of it. I just remember him yelling. Maybe it was purposely done, just that one clip, for whatever reason. But the video did show him yelling at the person and telling the person to get out of here.
Joe, do you have a
Go
video
back
for
to-
us, Jody?
It's not a video. It's a
Let's show that. Put that up so we can look
Still
at that.
love you, Joshua. Even if you don't know my name.
That was great. Check this out.
Oh yeah. Gordon Healy signs a assigns a bill that moves forward police chief to a civil service position.
What is it currently? What is his position currently as?
It's a mayor appointed position, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So now it shifts. Is
So
that what you're
difference
saying?
does that make?
I think
I
it.
wonder.
People can vote for a police chief now. I think.
Civil service. Okay.
Yes.
I think you're right.
No. I think
Like a sheriff?
Maybe. They do have that in various towns.
How is it? How is it? Let me tell you
How
something.
is that going to change?
right.
Well, based on the way that we
I
vote,
do the
nothing.
eyebrow.
Nothing. No, nothing changes.
Yeah,
if we
bro.
actually started to take, care a little bit, then yeah, maybe it can change a little bit. The idea is to, again, this is one of our
Dude,
things.
imagine. Hey,
This was for votes, by the way.
That was just posted by a Fall River
For reporter.
Yeah.
like an hour ago.
Okay, so that right there is, again, like he said, these little schemes.
why would Maura Healey care about Fall River like that?
Right
Why?
now,
It's
I don't know.
It's votes.
There's an election in
Votes.
November.
There's an
though.
election.
She's
It's
putting out
always the
these
election.
little crumbs to people.
It's the
you
little
know.
crumbs. It's the little
Shows
crumbs.
responsibility, great decisions by her.
Yeah.
But going back to the illegal immigration
Yep,
thing
yep.
we were talking about, just
'Cause that
before I
affects us.
forget that point,
Sure.
I think it comes down to this. I strongly believe this is their constituency that they're protecting for two reasons. The amount of money they're spending, the fight against ICE, and now the latest is the SAFE Act, right?
Yeah.
They're all fighting the SAFE Act. Why? Because they're insulting women, particularly women who may have changed their names. They're insulting a bunch of people, saying that they're going to be too dumb to have proper identification in order to vote. Even though you can't fly on a plane unless you show your ID. There are tons of things you can't do without
You
proper
can't do
identification.
anything without
You
ID.
can't.
I can't get into a club. I can't get into a certain specific spots.
Yeah.
If I go to a bar or a restaurant and I order a drink now, I mean,
a few years ago,
I
they
mean,
were.
they don't card me anymore.
Unless you go
but
to vote,
some
you don't
do.
need it. You don't need it if you got.
They were
go vote.
insulting black
That's right.
people a few years ago. Now they're insulting women.
And
When
it-
the
and
black people said, "No, I'm smart enough to get an ID."
Yeah. You know what's so funny? I didn't
And
tell about
actually, it's funny you say that. I remember that comment because she said black people didn't know how to use computers.
Yep. Oh, yes.
Who said this?
Yes.
Yes.
Who said this?
Oh.
Oh,
I-
whether that person was.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Who was it? She said it. She goes.
Didn't
"It was,
know how to use computers.
Yes, they weren't smart
It was a
enough. to use
U.S.
computers."
representative, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was. It was a rep.
Well,
couldn't
Biden
believe
also.
And it was a woman.
Biden made
And
a
it
few
was a woman.
comments
Yeah.
similar to that
Yeah.
as well. I mean, it wasn't just.
Yeah, but Biden was. I mean, you got that he was like cognitive, and he wasn't even. He wasn't.
come on.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
Really?
I don't buy it. I don't buy
You
it.
think that was all like a?
Oh no. I think that was part of it, but don't get it twisted.
Oh, you're right.
Don't get it twisted.
bro. If you go back to his original like comments,
Oh my
like,
goodness,
he was. Yeah, he was.
You would have thought he was. You would have thought what they call a Republican these
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
That's what we would have called him back then.
Yeah.
They're trying to associate us with that, and it's not. That's not even the case.
Right.
But it's so crazy to think
Right.
that at some point the people who are so against immigration now, illegal immigration,
Yeah.
and illegal immigration, how it works, are the same people during the Clinton years. Clinton and Obama, they were pushing the same things that Trump is doing right now. The problem is that the spotlight wasn't on them. When you have CNN, MSNBC, ABC, all of these channels that are clearly left-wing channels, they're not going to report any of that stuff. Remember that video, that photo of ICE storming the room?
Oh, with the kid,
Elian.
Ilian. Yes, Ilian. Yes, I do
Yeah,
remember
it's in
that.
the closet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
was-
was a
Kids
poster.
in terror.
Yes.
In terror. That was
Yes.
Clinton, by
Yeah.
the way. That was under
It
the
was.
Clinton administration.
Yeah.
And State of the Union address, he talked about how they were going to
We
enforce
should
this.
find out what's Elon doing now.
Sadly, he's like part of the system, or he was when he grew up until
you
like
go.
in his 20s. He got indoctrinated badly.
There you go.
They should
There
never
you
send
go.
that kid back.
And so they should have. It's so crazy to think that it was okay. And one can say, hey, listen, if they came out and said, listen, the way we did things back then, that wasn't good. But they don't.
Right.
They don't take accountability for any of the past shit they did.
Right.
No,
So-
they just pass over
I'm
the
glad you
buck
brought
and
that up.
pretend that shit didn't happen.
Yeah. So we can go back and the footage is there. It's available.
Oh, my
I can
God.
Hear, I
There's
can
so
hear
much
Biden
of it.
say
Oh,
that
yeah.
a marriage is between a man and a woman. He said that.
There was
Obama.
so many things.
All
he
right.
said.
So he said that. So that was available. The whole time he ran for president, that was available, right? Both times, right? And so nobody ever referred to that, right? They just left it there. Now we go into the future. Now it's AI.
Kathy
We don't
Kathy
know.
Hochul.
We don't know what to believe, because you had actual proof of the way these people felt back then, and nobody paid any mind to it. Now we're in the future. There's so much AI content. They could say whatever they want and however they want to say
There's
it.
also no accountability.
Half the stuff you see could be fake and not even true, and you wouldn't even know the difference.
How many people have been arrested?
Imagine 20 years from now, then,
Yeah.
when it all blends in into what was real, what was not.
Yeah.
It's all blur, right?
Like
It's
10 years
all
from
Smoke and
now,
mirrors.
it's gonna
Smoke and
be- yeah,
mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors.
Wow.
You don't know
Epstein
what to
files. Who's been arrested?
Wow. No way.
believe. I know. That's there should been arrest. There should be arrest.
This should be
There should
arrests.
Something.
There should be arrest.
Something.
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 Which brings us back to my very first statement of this episode, and that was accountability.
Accountability.
You know, and it's important. I think when people vote, and you'll be going up to vote when that time comes, and people are going to vote for you. That accountability is so important. It's okay. And I wanted to tell you, it's okay to say I don't have the answer.
Yeah.
It's okay to say I'm not sure. It's okay to say I made a mistake. I screwed up. Because that's hard to do, especially on that level. If a senator or a congressman or a governor, the president,
I can respect
Or my son gave us updated
Kathy,
information.
New York governor, Kathy. I don't know.
Kathy Hochul did it.
Okay.
Thank you.
She said about
Apparently.
yeah.
Thank
about-
you. Computer.
Thank you.
You should
Does
be
he need a job? Does he want to work for the Bobby Couto show? We're gonna
fact checker. Fact checker.
we'll get him in there as a fact checker.
He's
I
a
love
money
it.
guy. He works for the bank.
I love it.
But yeah, there should be a kind of. It should be okay for you to say it's. I don't know
course,
the
of
answer.
course.
Yeah.
And I think a politician or someone who is in office. I hate to use the word politician. I think when I think politician, I think of career politician.
Yeah.
I don't like to associate the two. I think there's people who go
So
into
do you think
politics.
that the word politician is dirty? Is that what
It's
you're
very,
saying?
very
I
dirty.
hate
Yeah.
that word.
Yeah,
I'd
it's
like to
dirty.
be called a statesman. I hope someday.
Yeah, it's a dirty man. It's a
I
dirty
gotta
word.
earn it,
I
though.
agree.
Thank
gotta
you.
earn it.
Gotta earn
Yeah.
it. And that's where I want to go with.
Oh, that guy, he's a
See-
politician.
see,
It's a
yeah.
derogatory.
He knows it's a
yeah.
dirty word.
Yeah.
It is a dirty word.
Yeah.
It
because
shouldn't be, but it's a
Yeah,
dirty
But it is
Exactly,
word.
right,
because
right.
instantly you think politician, you think career politician, you think
Correct.
somebody who's been in 30 years,
Yeah.
Yeah.
who have just
Who becomes a $30 million person in 1 year?
100 million with Nancy
Ah,
Pelosi.
it's insane.
It's insane. So for me, accountability, being able to say, hey, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah.
Let me go find it for you,
That's
and
right.
then execute it.
Yeah.
Like, don't forget about the person who just asked that question,
Exactly,
who brought that light to you,
Yeah.
and made you think. Wait for a minute, she's right or he's right. I don't know this answer. Go find the answer.
Yeah.
You owe it to your constituents.
That's right.
To get them that answer.
I got a question. So like if like finding the answer.
Thanks, Tiago, for that answer, by the way.
So now like finding like an answer to that problem, right? And it's not gonna be an answer that they like. Do you think transparency would be key with that?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. I would rather. Okay, I'll give you an example. You don't have any children, right? Okay, no. I would rather have my children come up to me, and I tell my daughter this all the time. If you screw up,
Yeah, say something.
your chances are better
Yeah, say something.
by coming to me and telling me
Yeah.
firsthand than me finding out from
Oh,
someone else.
100%.
Right.
If you come to me, I always say, I promise you, I will not bite your head off. There's going to be a talking, but it'll
Right.
never be
Yeah.
what it will be if you don't. So for me, it goes back. If you're not transparent and say I don't know the answer, and you give me this bullshit answer, and then I find out you didn't fucking do anything with it. I'm sorry if I swear, but you didn't do anything with it. You just became a politician, not a statesman.
Right.
But I feel like with the way Massachusetts is now, there's just gonna be a lot of that. Where like for an example,
I know what you're saying
you get what I'm saying? Because
because there's a lot of errors going on. Well,
So and with that being said, you think that would like start like a riot?
well, here's the thing. If someone like let's say that's honorable, I'll use Manny, honorable person that comes to, says that says how it is. I expect this person to be, if there is a mistake, he's not doing any shady business. He's going to be transparent with me.
Sure.
Versus the person who purposely
That's a
does-
reasonable expectation, by the
Yeah.
way.
For a person who actually purposely does something wrong and then is not transparent about it, I can understand why they're not transparent because they don't want nobody to find out.
Right.
It makes sense. So for me, if I find out, you're just a snake. But if I ask you the question and you don't know the answer or there was a mistake and it's brought to light, it takes some big kahunas to admit that you're wrong.
Sure.
And if you say, "Hey, I was wrong here," that truly tells
Yeah,
me
yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
really didn't know you did something wrong.
Right.
It
Yeah, but you know
wasn't a
what, though?
scheme and it wasn't a scam. You weren't trying to
Yes.
pull one over on me.
But your campaign manager would tell you not to do that.
Well, Well, that's the problem.
You know what I mean?
Because that's not the game.
Because you don't want to. Yes, you would look weak. Real quick, I just wanted Nelson Rigo. The issue with the SAVE Act is that a woman that's changed her last name to their husband's will not be able to use their birth certificate to register to vote because the name on the birth certificate does not match their legal name. They will have to use a document like a U.S. passport.
So for anybody who doesn't know, can you explain what the SAVE Act is first of all? Maybe there might be people who don't know what the SAVE Act is.
Any woman that's part of some type of hurt, like abuse, and she needs to change her name to protect her identity. That's where that would fall into place.
So in that
But,
scenario,
with the voting,
With the
national
voting.
so if she changes her name,
Yeah,
what you're saying through this, let's say through the SAVE Act,
yeah.
she will have a hard time. You're saying voting and doing all those
Yes,
things? Or-
but I mean, my argument with that
Is that
is
it?
like, how is that possible? They don't even check for IDs now. Like,
No.
I can walk in, I vote. Nobody's asking me for my license.
Bobby,
So
Bobby, when I went to go vote this
had my
past
license in
election,
my hand, too.
I had a license in my
Me
hand.
too.
And
I did it on purpose.
And I do it on purpose.
I'm not gonna lie, I did the same thing.
I do it on
I
purpose.
did the same thing.
And I
I
went
did it in Somerset.
Yep.
Right?
So I mean, think about it. We all did the same thing.
I pulled mine out.
Yeah, I pulled it out. I pulled it
Right.
out, and
Right,
the
exactly,
woman,
yeah.
the
That's it
woman
right
got
there.
flustered.
Don't you want to see it?
She's like, no. She's like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I'm like, but no, it's okay. I insist, and I gave it to her, and I forced it in her face. I'm like,
take it.
please take it and verify that it's me,
Yeah.
and she did.
Yeah.
But she did it. It took her like what 2 or 3 times. Her to say no, it's okay. I'm like, no. You're not understanding.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to look. I'm telling you
Verify.
to verify that because my vote counts and I want it to count.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not to say all these other votes don't count, but I know when I go vote, you're gonna remember me. I'm the guy that gave you the license. It's that easy.
I'm the guy.
They look
I'm
at
that
it
guy.
like you have 3 heads, you know? Like,
Yeah,
what
it's
is
that easy.
True.
It's
Yeah,
that easy.
true.
There was a time in this state that they asked for my license.
Yes. Dude, in all fairness, can I say something? They're always wonderful. Every time I go to vote, those
It's-
people,
they're
Yes,
wonderful.
they've always been good.
They're wonderful
Yes,
people.
They're great
Yes,
people.
They follow the rules.
They follow the rules.
They're told to do something. It's not against them.
I do wish you would take my
No,
license.
no,
do
I
wish you
insist, please. And the cop is right there.
Yeah.
I insist, please. Look at my license, verify that it's me, please.
Yeah.
My vote will count.
would. Yeah. It should.
And I need to walk away knowing
should.
that you know my vote counted.
It should.
I wasn't some guy
Yeah.
that just showed up. Somebody who died 20 years ago, you know what I mean, voting using someone else's name. That it's not going to be me. When you check off my name, it means something.
Yeah.
Well, when you go and vote, what street address? Look it up and everything. Okay, you're good.
That's it. Done.
I can pick anybody a street
Done.
address.
Do you know I can go in there and I can go in.
Yeah.
I can go in, vote for myself. Go in the next day, maybe it could be somebody completely different, and say I'm David Sousa. My dad passed away
It's
4 years ago,
shenanigans.
and be my dad.
It's
Yeah.
shooting.
Or your
It's-
neighbor down the street that you know is in
I know
there,
he's on the
take it
list.
up and-
I know I have his
It's
address.
crazy.
611 Hicks Street.
Yeah.
David Sousa.
Yeah.
They're gonna look. Oh yeah,
go.
Yep, you're good
and they're
to
gonna
go.
check me. Good to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It's not right.
It's
It's not
insane.
right. And you wonder how many of these people that have happened. I'll give you an example. Right, this current election between Boomer and 200 votes. There's not a lot of votes. Now,
260
I would say
votes.
200 votes maybe for the amount of people that voted.
talking about the
might
mayoral-
be,
the mayoral
yeah,
race with
might
Coogan
be a
and,
lot,
Amber.
right? Because we didn't have we didn't have a big turnout. So
Right.
200 votes, it may seem like a small number, and it is a small number. But in this city, the way that we voted and the amount of people, it's not that small of a number. But it is small. We can a
Yeah.
couple,
Yeah,
a
for
couple of
14
blocks,
like, we're
he
not-
would have won.
Yeah, we're not counting
Okay.
100,000 people. We're
Correct.
counting 14,000 votes. So
Correct.
200 of 14,000. That's kind of like the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
and if I'm walking in and it doesn't take much to be ahead by 200 votes.
Yeah.
And so if someone's coming in without a license and they're just coming in and knowingly picking someone else's name, someone who just died a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
it's wild. I don't understand it. It's
They-
not a racist thing.
they
You have a
took-
man sitting right here who's Cape Verdean.
Yep.
It's not- we're Portuguese.
Yep.
We're all in. We're all
Yes. We're all
either we're
immigrants.
Cape
immigrants.
Verdean Portuguese.
Yes.
Cape Verdean,
Yes. Yeah.
or we're sons and daughters of immigrants.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm
It's-
proud of it.
You
I
can't
want
tell
you to know.
me.
Hey, I want you to know I'm an immigrant.
Yes,
I want you to know.
I want you to know that I'm.
parents
Yeah,
came here. I want you to know
my
that.
skin may be
Yes.
white, but it's also olive.
Yes.
I am not
Yes,
100% white.
100%.
So
Yes.
don't even go there.
Yep.
I want to give my license.
Yep.
Fucking take my license.
Yep. Yeah. well,
I've earned it.
took,
I've earned it. My parents earned this right.
Yeah. Look, it's Georgia, right? 7,000 boxes
Yes.
they carted away.
Yes. That's crazy.
They're sweating bullets there,
Yes.
and I
Where,
wonder
oh yeah,
what's going to turn
the
up
mail-in
with.
ballots, same
Yes.
fucking thing.
Yeah, and, they came down. They collected these, and we want everybody to know that this is racist. This is This
It
is
is
racist.
racist.
This is that's
What happened in Somerset?
That's all they do. That's all they do.
Where the lady took the box
Oh,
of
walked in at
walked out
midnight or
with a whole
something?
box.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't tell me Like there isn't. There should be strict rules. There should be.
There are shenanigans.
There are shenanigans. I'm sorry. There's voter
I keep
fraud
saying it. If this
in every
was people's
city, every
money,
state.
if this was actual dollar bills, if a vote was money, like $100 bill, we would handle this completely different.
That's their best voter base. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. These
Right.
leftist Democrats, that's their voter base.
Yes.
They probably are afraid that once we get the violent criminal out,
Yeah.
then the next process will be, gently track down the people who are illegal,
Yeah.
either deport them, which I think is the right thing to do, unless there's specific special circumstances that they can give somebody a chance in some way.
Right.
But they're afraid that eventually, once the criminals are out of there, they're going to start keeping their voter base will get get smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah. Why would you bite the hand that feeds you?
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense, right?
They
Yeah.
won't win
Even a
another
dog knows
election.
better.
True
Yeah.
that. True that. Manny, how did your event go? You had your event at Brax?
It went pretty good in spite of the very bad cold weather.
That's right. It was that cold
I
snap.
had a young kid actually who's gonna from the school who was gonna. I'm trying to get him to learn how to videotape better.
Okay.
He knows how to do it actually.
Yeah.
So I was going to give him experience.
Okay.
He had to turn around, man. His dad drove him up. It was starting a little snow squall.
Yeah.
So the turnout wasn't was for that cold night. It was acceptable, shall we
Excellent.
say?
Excellent. You had an opportunity to talk to some people
decent amount,
and mingle.
yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Do you have any other events that are coming up soon, or?
I'm thinking of having. We're going to have some. Let's say, for instance, for Somerset, I want to have one at the Society Bar.
Okay.
Coffee bar. Great place.
So
Yeah,
I know.
Society.
I know.
My
That's
wife and I go there every Friday.
I know the owner
almost now.
personally. Great
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Great.
Wonderful.
Wonderful
Great coffee
people.
too.
I'm
Great
going to have
coffee,
something
great food, love their
probably in
coffee.
April or something when the weather's warm.
Yeah, that's a nice
They
venue.
close on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. We have the whole
Absolutely.
place. So
It's a
love that
great,
place.
great place. This is the one in Somerset.
In Somerset, they're opening one in East
East
Providence.
Providence.
I
East
think,
Providence.
soon.
They have one in New Bedford they just opened. They have
Yeah.
one also in Taunton. Taunton was the original
Yeah,
location.
we love the
East
music
Providence.
bingo.
Yeah, the East
fun.
Providence one will be very much like the Somerset one. They'll have like a little bit of a nightlife there as well, closer to Providence.
Yeah.
So it's actually I was talking to Keith yesterday about it. A little bit bigger, closer to Providence, a little bit more of that kind of vibe, but they still have that
Yeah.
same quality they've always brought. I mean, hands down. I mean, find me a coffee shop that's better.
Sure.
It's
And
great.
it's vibe.
I love it.
It's
And
vibe
the
and
vibe
energy
is
too.
great.
Yeah, vibe
the
and energy.
baristas are great. The baristas, I mean, they're great
The
people.
Sandwiches are really good.
Adam, the
It's just-
manager.
I love it.
Yeah,
Love
it's a
the
good
place.
vibe.
Adam's a great guy.
It's a good vibe.
Great
So
atmosphere.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about politics all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if when you've interviewed him, if you ask these questions, what do you do for fun?
Obviously, you didn't watch the episode, and I won't be offended by that. But go ahead.
I'll need another hour to tell you, but I'll try.
But
to
what's
make-
your favorite thing to do? What is your
Oh, my
your
goodness.
main hobby?
Oh my goodness.
What brings you joy? I think because we forget about these things, right? We forget
Okay.
about that.
I'll
You're just
give
not a
you-
statesman or running for that position. You are a person that has
Yeah.
your own interests. So-
I'll give you maybe 3 or 4 things.
Okay.
Blue Chew.
Yeah, that's mine. That's not his. That's mine. That's mine.
I was an umpire for many years in Rhode Island, East Providence. actually.
You were a firefighter.
Umpire.
Oh, I'm
Dude,
sorry,
he
Empire.
was almost like semi-professional umpire.
Get outta here.
I did some semi-pro up in Illinois when
I'm
I
not
went
gonna
to
lie. You
grad
kind of look
school.
like an umpire.
Yeah.
I see it now. I see the
So now
uniform.
I'm back into the game.
Nice.
I always blame my wife because we got married in 2000.
Damn woman.
I stopped for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then I went back to it about 4 years ago.
Nice.
So I'm doing women's varsity softball.
Nice.
Have a lot of fun with that.
Do you find it? Did you do men's as well? Or
I did men's fast pitch college. For a few years, I was down in Rhode Island. I
Okay.
was doing URI games, things like that.
And you prefer which one? You would say.
I prefer softball now. It's more exciting.
Do you prefer being more around the female athletes versus the male? Two different dynamics, by the way. Just not the sport itself, but the female being
seem
around
to have a different kind
one
of,
sex versus another.
The women seem to have a different kind of motivation. And,
Correct. That's where I was going with.
Yeah. Fire in them, shall we say. I don't know.
Yeah. Where you feel like as men, it's almost like a given.
Yeah.
Almost like
Oh, it's like, yeah.
entitlement a little bit.
And
that's
baseball
that's no dig against the men.
And the
Take
baseball
it
got
easy.
boring.
Take it easy.
I had fun doing baseball. It got boring with the 3 hours and pitch after pitch. The girls, they keep it going, moving fast, soft pitch.
yeah.
And it's really
And
great.
it's impressive. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, I think women don't get enough credit.
IT forefather right here from the beginning of IT, my
wow.
man, right here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's an interesting story because in grad school, I remember, I think I told you that, I was in a statistics course. I still remember to this day, back in 1981. I hate this stuff. It was punch cards.
Okay.
Doing statistics. I hate this. I'll never get into computers. Never. I hate it.
30 years later.
When I went to work at a school for autistic
No, you
kids-
missed that one.
Yeah.
Jody.
Actually, I used to be a DJ too. I used to be a radio DJ. I used to be a DJ doing weddings.
Okay.
I was involved in table tennis. I competitive national table
Get
tennis.
out of here.
Oh yeah, I did all that.
So you're an
stuff.
active. You were in.
Very
You were active, and would you say
Yes.
you're still currently active?
I'm still currently active, not as much, but I look forward to umpiring because I run around quite a bit more with umpiring. But I do work out downstairs. My son and I are working, building a gym downstairs.
Very nice.
And I think that's what kept me looking or feeling good at
Sure,
71, almost
sure,
71
sure.
years old. So.
Well, I think when you're with the younger crowd, I think, especially in the sports arena,
Yeah.
they have a way of motivating you.
They do.
They do. They keep you young. They keep you. The fire is
Yeah.
lit. The pilot is lit, and it's on high blast with them. Like I was telling my daughter tonight, and I got a message her. Her school. She goes to Morton, and this is their championship game. They play in Cuss.
Oh, yeah.
Cuss
Yeah,
is
that
the
always
arch nemesis.
mattered.
Cuss is the arch nemesis
Yeah.
to
Oh,
Morton.
Yeah. It used to be
Right? I went to
Talbot.
Morton. Yeah, it used to be Talbot, and they beat Talbot recently to get to the championship.
Okay, all
So
right.
now tonight's Cuss,
Yeah.
and it's Morton versus Cuss at Durfee, the new Durfee.
I
And
missed that, dude. It's so much fun. My
it's-
kids are grown.
I
Like,
know,
I
and I
miss
know,
those
and I know.
days.
This is
Yeah,
this
you
is
missed that
I
time.
this
do.
is my
I do.
this is my golden era. For
Yes,
this I
yes,
love this era.
yes.
Now, me and my ex-wife, we're not together anymore. We have whatever. So this is her day. So she went back today, but I always push my daughter always to be the best that she could. Dance, school.
Absolutely, yeah.
I will push this kid until I turn blue. I didn't have anybody to push me in a sense. My parents didn't understand school. They only had fourth grade education. Being first generation, we spoke.
Quit your job and go get it. Quit your school and go get a job.
Yeah,
That's
we
what it
spoke.
was, yeah.
We spoke only Portuguese in the house when we were kids. I
Yep.
went.
English is my second language. actually.
English is my second language. When I stood back in kindergarten,
Yeah.
you could hear. By the way, it was like
Kid-
kindergarten.
right there. There it is.
Kindergarten, right? Yeah, because I couldn't speak well, and
Yeah.
so they wanted me to stay back a year, not a couple years, a year, so 1 year. And when I see my daughter, I don't want her to go through those struggles. I want her to excel. I want her to be kind of like what my father wanted for me, right? You go out there, you got my name. You're gonna, you like do me proud, but do yourself proud. Like chin up. You go forward, and I teach her these things. And I told her today, I said, listen, there's a sense of pride in the school that you go to. I said, you're in that era. You're in Morton. You're in 6th grade. I said, tonight is Morton versus Cuss. I said, I'm going to convince your mother to take you.
What sport is this? I'm sorry.
Basketball.
Oh, basketball. Okay.
Basketball. I
Yeah.
said, I'm going to convince your mother to take you. I said, it's very important that you go because it's an experience.
Yeah.
Once you go to one,
Yeah.
you're going to want to go to all of them.
Yeah.
You're going to see your friends there. There's a level of pride in the school that
Sure,
you have.
sure, sure.
You root for your team.
Yep.
You're there.
Community.
It's
Community,
community.
right? The rally.
This
Yeah.
is where it starts.
Yeah.
And I hope those stands are full so she can see it. I hope the kids of her era,
Yep.
Morton and 6th grade and up,
Yep.
are involved. I hope they're all involved. Everybody
Yeah.
in that school should be there.
Sure. Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah, celebrate your wins,
the
celebrate
the
your
school,
losses.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
The school should be pushing this hard.
Yeah.
Let's go, kids. School spirit. Let's go. This is where it starts. And she got all excited. Like this is like she's like it's tonight. I'm like, it's tonight, baby. I'm like, you want me to talk to mommy and see if she can take you? And she's like,
Yeah.
she got all excited. I'm like, let's go do it. And that's kind of like, with her,
Cool.
it's wonderful thing to see. And
Yeah.
so when I understand like
Yeah.
being involved in sports. And I did sports. I played baseball. I don't know what you played. Did you play any sports?
I played baseball and basketball.
Yeah, see, I played mostly baseball, but I did a little bit of basketball as well, but mostly baseball. I loved basketball. I was actually my number one sport.
Yeah.
I did really well, but I was also a very good athlete playing baseball and just getting the kids involved. And, it's people like you. It's the umpires. It's the coaches. It's the people who show up all the time. It's that one fan or those couple of fans that always show up
Yeah.
that light up the whole stadium.
Sure.
It matters. So you
Yeah.
always know that you do make a difference in that space. Like that's huge. I'm sure the women that you play, you're umpiring, feel the same way. I mean, they have to. It's almost it's a community, and I can
Oh,
see
yeah.
why you do that for sure.
Yeah,
So
there's nothing better than doing
yeah, because you left and you're going back again, right?
Going
so like
back again,
you're going
'cause I
back
love
again.
it.
What
I
you
love
love
it.
it so much.
And I love to encourage the players.
Yeah,
Don't
sure.
just
It's all about the
call
fire.
balls and strikes
It's all
and
about
that's
the
it.
fire.
No.
Yeah, it's all about the fire.
So Valentine's Day is Saturday, gentlemen. You guys got plans for the ladies? What's going on?
Well,
I said blue
I
chew.
almost my
That's the plan.
My wife actually gave me permission to go to a conference in Plymouth. No, I changed my mind. No way.
Smart move.
Even though she was okay
By the way,
with it.
that was
she was
just-
okay with that.
Nah, I don't believe
Smart
it.
move.
That would have been stupid on Valentine's Day.
She would have been
Right.
okay. She
Right.
would have been
She was
okay with it
okay.
now.
Yes, yeah.
Until something happened.
I've been getting all
was
you
the
know that
conference?
time you did this?
How was the conference?
I
Yeah.
just
How was
sent
the
her.
conference?
I sent her about 6 or 7 of these little videos today. They kept coming up on my feed of the stupid things husbands do. And she looked at them all and she says, "Yep, that's you."
check.
You know, like when I have a snack, for instance, eating crackers.
Yeah, you get all of your shit.
Yeah, the video is showing him using a vacuum cleaner. But the
Smart guy. I'm
and it
like,
was
that's
funny.
brilliant. That's
So
brilliant.
I canceled that. I said, "There's no way you're going to go there."
Yeah.
So I'll take her and my older son. We'll go out to lunch for Valentine's.
Very nice.
My daughter, she's probably going out with her husband. She lives in Fall River.
Nice.
Katie, she works in Rhode Island. She's a nutritionist.
Very
And
nice.
she works in the Department of Education. Great.
Oh, so
kid.
she's on top of you, I guess. I would say so.
Oh, yeah. She's on top of me. She's always giving me advice,
Very
how
good.
to eat and everything.
It's very important.
And worries about me, you know.
No,
Going
not for
back to
nothing.
Cape Verde, by the way.
Yeah.
And she was scared because I'm going alone. But now my son's going with me.
Oh,
so
very
she's a little
nice.
more
Very
comfortable.
nice. I mean,
But-
it's funny because you're a man, right? And let's be
Yeah.
honest, most things don't happen to men.
So-
If something's going to happen, it's not usually us.
Yeah.
So, you know, the kids will be with
but it's
us,
nice.
Nice.
except maybe Isaac, the younger one. He's up in New York.
So,
in school.
2 kids? 2?
I have 2 boys. Tiago, he's 24. Isaac's up in New York in college. He's 19. We're going to go Sunday to see him until we come back Tuesday because he has a different spring break.
Gotcha.
And then Katie, you know, she'll do her thing with her
And
husband.
how old's Katie?
Katie's 36,
So she's your oldest.
and her husband David. Great people. David's the best son-in-law I could
I
probably
love
have.
that. That's great,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
the first day that I met him,
I like
just
that.
a quick story. The first time I met him,
Yeah.
he came in the house and I said, "You want to see my gun collection?"
That's what I would have done too. Smart.
They walk in and just polishing
And
it
he's
up.
like, really? Can I see them?
They got a good laugh with that. But
That's a good one.
he's a great young man, and I'm just happy with my family. So cancel that thing. Smartest thing I did
Smartest
Good
this
for
thing
you.
you could ever
Smart.
do.
Smart. What are you
week. How
doing?
about you? Yeah.
So we typically just go out for dinner.
Blue Chew.
Yeah.
The brew house, bro. We're having an event at the brew house Saturday
So
night.
what's going on at the brew house this week?
So there's a singer there. I wish I knew. I'm actually going to pull it up right now.
yeah.
Starting at 7:00. It's if you book with the Bobby Couto Show, you get a reservation. It's just a restaurant. There's no tickets or anything. You get a free bottle of wine. So you and the lady go down there, get a bottle of wine. There'll be some music. There's a singer that's going to be there. I want to get his name right now. It's a social table event.
So it's
it's a Marco Andrade event.
Always delivers, by the way.
Oh, 100%. It's
Always.
It's
Doesn't
always
he
amazing.
smell good all the time?
Oh yeah, I do it. Hey, dude, I swear to God,
have to
as
stop
Bobby,
hugging him.
we was doing the show, and I did not look at him. Nothing. I smelled. I was like, oh, Marco's here, and I looked over. Marco's right there. I'm like,
It's the pheromones, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just exudes that. The cologne he just wears it.
it's mad good
So
cologne.
it's Sip, Laugh, and Love Valentine's Day Party, and it's live music with Rob Marlin, classics, and today's top hits. So he sings
very nice.
he'll sing like newer music. Corey, who usually goes, does like a Sinatra. He sings Sinatra.
By the way,
Really?
This
by
guy-
the
this
way,
guy
he does
sings-
very well.
That sounds
Amazing.
interesting.
Corey,
It's
Corey
such a
can
great
sing.
night.
Do they serve Moscato wine?
Yes.
Okay, that's the only
Yes.
wine I drink.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it's a full bar.
It's a full bar. It's
Full
a great,
bar.
it's actually the brew house, but it's a coffee brew house,
Coffee
not
brew
a
house.
beer brew house. So
yeah.
full menu. Nick Ozug runs that place.
It's kind of like a society in a sense. Like
yeah,
they
yes,
have the nightlife.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
You can go there. Can you go there during the day and,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
have
yeah,
an alcoholic beverage?
They serve
bar-
They serve breakfast 24/7. Like as long as
they're open.
They serve breakfast, so you can have any alcohol, coffee, whatever.
And they serve
whatever
a
you
lunch.
want.
They have a lunch and a dinner
lunch and a dinner menu.
Oh my God,
yeah.
the hamburgers are amazing.
Yeah, yeah, so good. It's really
Sounds
good.
like-
I've gotten there to go for breakfast.
Yeah.
Great place. The coffee was American. Was amazing.
Was American?
Well, it was called American. Was it what's the coffee?
Columbia.
Americano.
Oh, Americana.
Americano. Yeah.
Americana. Yeah. So that'll be Saturday. I don't know that I'll be there, but I know that a couple of people that involved with the
Okay,
show
I'm
will
gonna
be
have to
there.
look into
and,
that.
I might stop in and say hello. You know what I
Might
mean?
as well.
Dude, I've been working like. Bro, not to tell
I'm
stories.
about to go there, dude. The girls love me over
They
there. I'm
do.
chilling.
This guy makes sound like a bandit. Dude, last week I had Blue Chew.
I got a supplies for you.
And so I had a roof drain leak, and one of
Yeah.
my surgical
Yeah,
ORs
yeah,
was
you told me
completely
about
buried
that.
in water. It's like the
Yeah.
whole week just chasing that.
Oh,
so
no.
the
Yeah.
weekend's coming, and I'm actually looking forward to. I've been nonstop, so I'm actually looking for a day off, like not do anything. Just
You know,
chill out.
you need it. You need to.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
You need to
Even
breathe
this
it. You
week,
need to
it's
breathe
been. I've been recording.
Well, you've had two
episodes.
podcasts. You've had two
Absolutely.
podcasts and
Yeah.
two live ones, by
Yeah,
the way.
this
You know,
week.
it's one thing when it's controlled.
Yeah, yeah.
And those typically last about an hour. And
Yeah.
these live ones,
What do you
it
do?
it
Typically
goes
twice a week or something?
once.
I usually do
but this time
Thursdays. Yeah,
it is
Thursdays.
2 times.
That's a
sometimes.
lot
But
of
the
work
man
just
just-
once
so-
a week, I'm sure.
Aaron Bernardo of Bernardo Boxing. He's got a big fight tomorrow. He hasn't fought in
Oh,
6
yeah.
years.
Right.
He's fighting for the first time, and so I wanted the opportunity to help him promote the event.
Yeah.
So he's
Great.
like, dude, can we do Wednesday? I said, absolutely, Marco. Let's do Wednesday. So we did Wednesday. What an awesome episode!
You know what?
too.
You know what I wish the city would do for him. I wish there was and it maybe exists, but we just don't know about it. Maybe because he said yesterday
He does all right with the city.
he does all right with the city. Okay, the reason why I say that
He actually said, I'm not talking on it. I was on the show yesterday, and
Yeah.
he said the city takes care of me. Like,
that's all I need to know
there's no-
because he does a lot for
he
the
does.
city. He
He's
takes
got
on
about
kids.
80 kids a day. 80 kids.
80 kids a
every
day, and a lot of them don't even pay.
Right.
He gives them free memberships
Lunch,
because he understands getting them off the
education.
streets.
Absolutely.
He feeds them. He trains them, and the hope obviously is to motivate them to realize that you don't got to live on the streets. You don't
He
got
is
to be
a-
like these
that's
other people.
great.
He's a
That's
31-year-old
Great man.
superstar.
Great
Manny,
man.
a 31-year-old
Hard to go, huh?
superstar. I
Sounds
would
like
love
it.
for you to meet him. At some
Yeah,
point, if
love
you'd like
to.
to go down there, and I'll introduce you to him.
Oh,
and
that'd be
like
great.
he's just a
Yeah,
class act.
sure.
4 children, his children. Like their whole family's there all the time. It's the most incredible situation. I'm
Oh, they
so
do it
proud of
together.
him.
They do it together.
And I'm proud
it's,
to
it's
call
a family
him friend.
unit. Yep.
Absolutely.
And his
Amazing.
boxers are,
amazing.
and he'll tell you, his boxers are also his extended family. It's
Same thing with Marco Andrade. Every event I go to where Marco and I work together, he brings his daughters, and his daughters are working the room. Like he puts them to
You know
work.
they're twins, right? They're twins,
Yeah,
right?
They're setting up the cameras. They're setting up the lights. He's
I love those little
He's like, hey,
girls.
where's so and so? And she's like, I don't know. He's like, call them, and they're on the phone.
Oh,
making phone
they have
calls.
everybody. They have everybody. But
Absolutely.
listen, by their
Yeah.
pinky.
Yeah.
He, she,
I
they're
love that.
they're just great
I love
family.
that.
The
Yeah.
wife is a wonderful person. I didn't
Yeah.
work for them. I did some work for them. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. I can't say it. I can't say that enough.
What do you got going on, buddy?
So right now, when we work wise,
Yeah, well,
so right now, we're still running the promo. Of course, if anybody wants to call in or reach out to me, I mentioned the Bobby Couto show. 10% off. It's the best promo I have right now. I have other promos, but that's the best one you're gonna get. I mean, regardless of the size of the project, if it's a big project, 10% goes a long way. Some of my jobs tend to be, big number, big houses, and if you have a big house that needs to get painted, 10% off.
10%
All right,
off.
just mention the Bobby Couto show, and we'll take care of you.
Jody Joe.
Yeah, so I do want to announce that Ants Late Night Show is having also a Valentine's raffle,
Oh.
a $50 brew house card
Oh.
for the brew house district, and a bottle of wine.
Oh. Vino.
Hey, where's that sound? Where's the sound?
And how do people enter to win that?
Okay, so what you got to do is either on Instagram or Facebook, go on to the post, the Valentine's post. It'll be the first post on the Ants Late Night Show page, and comment how you and your loved one met.
Okay.
The best story wins the.
I shared it.
Yeah, wins the gift card and the bottle of wine.
Vino.
Oh, I have a great story. I'm going to try for that then.
Oh, I love it. Do you want to share it with us now? Come on, share it with us now, real quick, before we get out of here.
Well, how he met his
You
wife?
mind? Yeah.
all right,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, how I got the first date. Let's
All
see
right,
what's
first
the-
date. First date.
That's always a
I
tough
mean, he's a
one.
handsome guy. I
He is
can
a
see you having any trouble, but go ahead. Yeah.
We met at church in East Providence, actually, right off Pawtucket Ave.
Okay.
But before that, I already knew her family.
Okay.
It was like her dad, my dad, pastors in Cape Verde, converged all of a sudden.
So she's also Cape Verdean as
Yeah.
well. Okay.
Raised Brazilian
Gotcha.
after 1 year.
Gotcha.
But I used to do the sound system, and I met her and say hi and everything, but I'd never really talked much to her. Her brothers used to tease her because they noticed that I would look at her all the time. Man, he's looking at you.
How
again,
old were you,
don't
by the way, by this time?
Am I now?
No, by then, when you first met her,
Yeah,
how old were you?
Well, let's put it this way. I was 16 years her senior.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm
okay.
70. So in I don't know. I was 16 years older than her, though. She was much younger than me.
You don't look.
I'll be
He
71
looks great.
next month.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Right.
Caesar looked like he was.
Well, we got married in 2000, so minus 25. I married her at 42. She was 27. something
Okay.
like that.
All right.
Okay.
I'm finishing up the sound. The service has ended. I'm in the sound room, which is facing the sanctuary. Everybody's coming out there and everything. And she's walking to the back. She's walking out. I lean over the window and I say, Monica, can I talk to you for a second? She came around to the thing. And I said, hi, hey, wondering if you go out to dinner with me sometime. And she was very pleasant and nice. And she says, okay, sure. All right. We'll talk later and see where we're going to go.
Very nice.
Later, I found out she went home in the van with her brothers, and she was looking out the window, crying her eyes out of fear. I hope she doesn't get mad at me for telling the story. she was afraid because, you know, she just didn't expect it. And she had promised in her younger life to never marry someone named Manny or Manuel. I don't know why.
Geez,
she
the
had
cards
that
were
idea.
struck against
All right, now
you.
for another Emmanuel. Is
But
Emmanuel?
she
Is
was
it Emmanuel?
she was
Emmanuel's
afraid in many other ways. I'm
yeah.
divorced,
Sure.
and maybe she was afraid of that too. What could
Sure.
happen?
Sure.
So that's how I got up the courage to ask her out for a date. I took her out to dinner at the Moulin Rouge right down here
okay.
in
Yeah.
Tiverton.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that's the story. That's how we didn't meet then, but
Yeah.
my first date request for her was really.
And that night went well. I'm
So,
assuming.
Anxiety
dude, here
Clearly.
we are, right?
I kind of scared her at the restaurant, real quick. I kind of scared her because we sat down to eat and everything. All of a sudden, I'm putting my hand on her hand, and she's like, "What is he doing? We just met. We just had our first date, and we did a little prayer for the meal." But later, you know, years later, when we got engaged or whatever, we got engaged within 6 months, actually.
Yeah.
She says, "What were you thinking? I got so scared when you put your hand on me, like on my hand.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this is just a first dinner."
Yeah, right.
So she was scared. We had good laughs about that.
Yeah, but that's the connection right there, right? That connection.
Yeah.
You know?
I think. How long ago was this?
And I
you
had
said?
promised I'm not going to remarry again because, you know, the trauma of getting divorced.
Of course.
You know, it's so funny.
All of a sudden,
it's so funny. I said this.
there it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never say never.
Well, you know what? You take you gotta take a leap of faith sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just know.
Yeah.
And clearly it worked. Like it
Yeah.
was meant to be.
Yeah.
Clearly, how many years now?
25.
25 years.
God bless you.
26.
God bless you
Awesome.
guys. Yeah, it's a wonderful
That's
thing.
amazing.
Yeah, it's so funny how everybody has a different story. Some stories can be similar, but it's
Yeah.
always slightly different.
I'm
you
so
know
glad
what
to
I mean?
hear you're not going to be divorced on Saturday. That's so great. You know what I mean? That's,
Yeah, after all of this, you're fine.
right?
Trust
I'm
me.
so glad you got it right.
Crumbs on top of your shirt. Don't worry about
But-
it. She
but-
accepts you. She accepts you.
But I will say for the viewers, because I did say
Yeah.
what I'm gonna be doing for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I'm single, so if anybody wants,
There you go.
something,
There you
Oh, look at
I'll pay for
this.
dinner. I'll pay for dinner. Just
Okay,
let me know.
All right.
The Blue Chew.
You know what we should do?
Set him up with a date.
Dude. I love you, Jody. I love you.
Make it quick because we got to end this.
Okay.
We're
Dating game?
We need yes. We need a dating game for him.
you want to do it, Jody?
I'll do a dating game.
Dating
on
game.
this show. I'll do
A dating game. We
on
can
the
do it
show.
here, or we can do it with Corey on the late night show.
All right.
Either
More
way,
to
I
come.
think it's.
That's a great
I think
idea.
it's a great venue.
fantastic.
That's
We
a
will
great
pick.
idea.
I think we pick a few girls that
Right.
would sign up,
Yes.
and we put them behind a screen, and we'll ask them some questions.
100%.
He has no idea what they are,
Yes.
what they look
We'll follow
like.
the same format. We'll
Same
literally follow the
format. You just gotta trust us.
Yeah. Okay.
You just gotta trust.
Oh, it's on. This is going to
It's
happen.
a done
Manny,
deal.
before we walk out of
Thank
here,
you
buddy,
so
what do
much.
we want to tell to the constituents, man? This is your opportunity to reach out to them, and what should they know that they probably don't know at this point?
They're going to have a lot of time, I hope, in the next few months to know about me. I enjoyed this even more than talking about politics in a sense, or even my opponent, Michael Rodriguez. I enjoyed this a lot, but they're going to get to know me more. They're going to get to know that I'm a guy who makes his promises and keeps them. That's the main thing. Because if I promise to do something, I'm going to follow through on it.
Appreciate that.
And if they can trust me, that's going to be gold.
Yeah, and that's what we need. We need to earn that trust
You
back.
need to
Yeah.
make your promises. You need to
Yeah.
stick with it.
Yeah.
And you need to also tell them, I'm for the audit. I'm for total transparency. These people act like they're running the show. We are their bosses. They seem to have forgotten that. You know, you run a business, you're the boss. They're not the boss, though. We're the boss of them, but they've
Right.
turned it around on us.
Right.
And I want to change that.
Awesome.
I think that's a great message.
That's amazing, right? Well,
wonderful. Manny.
so Market Basket tomorrow? Market Basket?
No,
Tuesday?
I'm going to post it, but hopefully next, let's see, Tuesday we'll be
Yep.
returning from New York.
Okay.
So it's going to be Wednesday.
All right, but if
next
somebody
Wednesday.
wanted to sign that, they could reach out to you on social media and be like, hey, Manny, can you meet me somewhere? Like, I'm over here, I'm over
Yes,
there.
sir.
Is that possible?
We
Is
can
that a
do that, too.
possibility?
We can
All
do
right,
that,
well,
too.
just so people have an option, because
Yeah.
that's important, right? Like, that matters. Like,
It
we need
looks
to
like,
get
I
that.
haven't told Market Basket, but
Yeah.
it's a public area there.
Yeah,
You
sure,
can-
of course.
You can go.
Of course. In the back pocket.
I'll
That
let
parking
them
lot's
know anyway.
gigantic anyway. You
But
know
it
what I
looks
mean?
like next
Oh, my
Wednesday is
goodness,
going to
yeah.
be
Yeah,
good
you could
for
stand
Market
somewhere
Basket.
between Chick-fil-A.
You know
and
what's so
Market
Great
crazy?
place. There's so many places to
Being
do.
that the parking lot's so large,
It's massive.
It's so
still
big.
it's still congested.
It's a terrible design, bro. It's because
Take it out.
everybody's going to the same place. That's why
I
everybody goes to
dread
that.
getting out of that place.
Yeah,
every
it's
day.
a rough one.
There's only like
It's a rough one.
two 2 exits and 3 entrances.
Yeah,
That's
Manny,
terrible.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate
What
it.
It was a pleasure.
Was
It was a
wonderful.
pleasure. Absolutely.
David, thank you so much for being here.
My honor.
Jody, Joe, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Remember to support our main sponsor, Troy City Mortgage.
Troy City, baby.
David Pereira. You know those guys, right?
I do. I know
Kevin?
I
You know
know
Kevin?
I know Dave.
Excellent.
That's
So
great
reach
guys.
out to David Pereira. They're over at 1777 Pleasant Street in Fall River, Massachusetts, 508-207-5864 for all of your mortgage needs, the exclusive mortgage provider of the Bobby Couto Show. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the show. It matters so very much. And remember, always remember that all roads lead here.